go back to Kelp Dome, but I think about it more, and like Kelp Dome actually feels like a better map than some of the ones in 3. I don't like that. Okay.
Do we know who we're watching first? Okay. I like how Secret Elixir disbanded 2 days ago, and here they are in Prism Break 10.
No, I don't have vocal cords. I can't talk. Oh. I did not realize that's what you were implying.
Oh, we're live. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Prism Break. Following up, I guess, on the scuff from the last time, we're coming in with hot mics. But yes, welcome to Prism Break number 10, I do believe. My name is Hammy. I'm here with Ideas, and we're going to be looking to get into our first match of the night here of Secret Elixir versus Splatoon Boys.
Oh, Hammy, it is great to be here again after the scuff situation of last Prism Break. But this time, we will definitely not have any more issues of that severity. And I'm very excited to get into this first set here. Secret Elixir, a team that has previously won Prism Break. I believe it was Prism Break 2 or 3. So a very strong team coming in Splatoon Boys. Can you tell me a little bit about
Secret Elixir definitely are a strong team, though. On Twitter 2 days ago, they did announce that they would be disbanding. So I guess this is one last hurrah for Secret Elixir. I do believe they do have Monkey there as a sub with the different tag, though. Splatoon Boys team, I don't know much about. I don't personally know any of these players. So we could kind of see anything coming out from them. You know, they're a lower seed, but sometimes that comes in when you're signing up to a tournament a bit later, or maybe the TOs just don't know you as well, so we could be in for a bit of a surprise. But either way, they're going to have to surprise us if they want to take on a team like Secret Elixir going into Splat Zone's Mahi Mahi Resort for Game 1.
And honestly, I would like to give them the benefit of the doubt. I do believe they have the ability to show us this skill, because looking at some of their past records so far, they have a couple of names and badges to their titles. Wrong order, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. That these
Yeah, exactly.
are not players they've gone out and proven themselves in before, and I think they can once again prove themselves here tonight.
Definitely. The Splatoon community has a lot of players who like to kind of just show up and play the game. You know, there's all kinds of people get caught up on things like divs and like certain placements and things. So you're always like, yeah, this player's clearly better. And then you have those teams who have no results, who don't have a lot of background, who aren't as known, and they just walk in and win because you just don't know what they're capable of. So that's the fun part about these open level tournaments, is you're not gonna really know what you're gonna see, especially in these first rounds where, you know, everyone's just kind of duking it out. We have a couple rounds of groups here that are going to seed us into brackets for later tonight. So we're going to be seeing all kinds of gameplay for the next 4 rounds.
Yes, and it's just very exciting. Something I really do love, as you mentioned, about more of these open tournaments, is seeing the more experimental team comps that you're going to see. Because I feel like personally, whenever I'm watching more higher level events, I kind of start to see just the same 10 or so weapons, and it is so much more enjoyable whenever I watch these like more open events where we have a lot more mid-levels and lower level teams playing in them, and just showing that you can take this kind of niche, kind of not really popular option and really make it work. So that's something I've always loved to see.
I too am a fan of very niche picks, so we're going to look to see if either team is going to bring any of those out. We do see very standard weapons coming from Secret Elixir, and fairly standard weapons coming from the side of Splatoon Boys as well. They do have that Dynamo, which is a less common weapon you see in competitive, but with that soda, it's still going to be giving you a very meta special and something that is very well sought after. So both these teams looking to be comfortable in the picks they're going to be bringing. Splatoon Boys going 3 down already to Secret Elixir, who are in control of the map and painting up very aggressive positioning, and they're looking to just to win this first game with a bang already.
Yeah, as you said, just really going to get in there, getting that pick one after the other, but it doesn't look like the Splatoon Boys will let them have that for free. Getting the wipeout, getting flipped. Unfortunately, they do get 50 points, meaning that the 60, not 50, meaning that the board has now changed, giving us the more open map that Mahi is well known for.
You say unfortunately, but I think Splatoon Boys might enjoy that open space. They have that Nautilus with the splashdown that can do a lot of wide area damage, as well as that Dynamo that's able to just cover a long range. And we see Secret Elixir, they have more of a straightforward comp with that Rapid Blaster Pro Deco and those shooters. Like, you want to kind of fight in a straight line there. You don't want those big open areas because you don't have a lot of cover. So Splatoon Boys could take advantage of that open area, but first they need to break back in to even use that, going 2 down in their base. See the Dynamo there getting the pick and trying to just break their team back in. They do have that soda for their teammates, but with only 30 ticks left for Secret Elixir, they're trying to count down. FZ Dan trying to paint the zone, trying to use that Dynamo to the best of their ability and try to get their team back in this. We have a push going in here, but 3 going down again. Just the 10 attack, Splattershot left alive, and Secret Elixir are still holding the zone.
Secret Elixir really just pulling out with this very strong defensive gameplay, something that I think is actually more benefited by having the map be in this more open state, because it allows you to get more areas where you're able to watch from, and it's just going to make it a lot more easier to hold that choke down for them and really secure this game 1 for Secret Elixir.
Yeah, not only did Secret Elixir have that defensive power, as you mentioned, they also were really good at staggering Splatoon Boys in their base. We saw a lot of members of Splatoon Boys dying before they could even get out of their own plat, and we didn't see them utilizing the islands on the sides of the map a lot, which are a very strong way to break back in. They were trying to just brute force it through the front, which may not have been to their benefit. So Secret Elixir playing this map really well. Again, they got wiped there in this replay, and they did lose map control, but Splatoon boys weren't able to keep it up, and Secret Elixir got back map control, and then they were able just to get a very clean KO in only about 2 minutes.
And it was truly just a struggle. As you mentioned, they did not utilize the blocks on left very well. I think that we could have definitely seen a lot strong power, especially with how open the map is. From the Dynamo being able to control that space, it would allow for the Splatoon boys to really have gotten back in there a little bit more easily. But fortunately enough, the set is not over for them, and they did show out a very good game one, in my opinion, facing a strong team that can definitely be intimidating. You know, if you're seeing somebody who has like stacks on stacks of results in our previous winners of a lot of strong tournaments, you might feel a little bit intimidated going into it. But I think they managed to work past that and still play to their strengths.
Exactly. Secret Elixir is a very strong team, and being able to wipe them and get map control to some extent can be its own have its own merit. Though we are in a play all three, so they could still have a chance to win the set if they win the next 2 matches. But even if they lose this next match, they still have a chance to get a win in there and try to improve their tiebreaker score. As again, we are in groups, so there may be some tiebreakers to kind of push into different brackets. Though going into our next match, Inkblot Academy on tower control. This is a very, very tried and true map and mode. Probably one of the most popular and most common map mode you'll see in tournaments. So we know that Secret Elixir are going to be very comfortable and confident here, especially with the weapons that we saw them bringing in that last match. With that Rapid Blaster Pro Deco, with those shooters that everyone knows and loves. So Splatoon boys, they're going to need to bring something out here to kind of catch Secret Elixir off guard and potentially push them off of their own game.
And honestly, I do think we're going to see kind of that coming out here with the 52, with the S-Blast, really giving them a lot more pressure about controlling space with the tower. Booyah, a very strong specialist, especially if you want to deny area. In a mode like tower control, you definitely want to take as much area as you can. Especially on Inkblot, where you have this... You were going to say?
I was going to say, and take area they will. Secret Elixir going 2 members down. Splatoon boys already pushing into that first checkpoint, not even 30 seconds in. Though Secret Elixir, they do come back in that defensive front that we've seen already. There's a Booyah ready on the side of Splatoon boys for a good defensive hold here. And Azuka as well, they're getting ready. There comes the Booyah. They're going to be throwing specials out to that checkpoint and just try to keep Secret Elixir away from the checkpoint, keeping this lead ever so slightly, starting to stagger those members a bit, get map control, but with 2 down, they're not going to be very comfortable. Secret Elixir actually 2 members behind Splatoon boys, looking to cause a huge pincer here in the tower and managing to keep that map control despite going a 2 members down.
And that was a really good play from Splatoon boys there, really getting that special out, getting that Booyah, coming out with the Zuka, getting 3 picks, unfortunately, just not able to find that last one, giving them that ability to pincer them off, which was very unfortunate, but a very well made out play, getting all of those picks right there. Just unfortunately, they were not able to keep going. And we will see Secret Elixir able to stagger their specials one after the other, get through the first check with the flank coming from Splatoon boys with the Zuka, enough to get them off of tower. But unfortunately, just too much fighting on top of plat for Splatoon boys to get enough value out of it.
Splatoon boys try to take a page out of Secret Elixir's book. We saw Dan go for a long flank as the last member left alive, hoping to pincer with the rest of their team, though Secret Elixir was able to kill off those 3 respawning members of Splatoon boys, leaving Dan by themselves out of position, giving Secret Elixir a way better push in. The tower's moving to that last checkpoint now. Deja vu to last game. We're only 2 minutes in, and Secret Elixir's looking to KO here at the very end. So Splatoon boys are going to need to get some specials online. They're going to need to get some picks because they're going to need to stop this push now before it's too late.
And it looks like they will be able to get a couple picks on the board, able to get 1, 2, 3 right there and get them off of their plat, pushing them back. Unfortunately, not completely out of it. Secret Elixir not backing down, keeping up this aggression until the moment is over, just getting trades and picks left and right for both teams. Bringing us out a crossroad.
Oh, sorry. That's the
No,
fun
you're
part of
good.
commentaries. We're stepping over each other's toes, and both these teams stepping over each other's toes as well. We see Brendan kind of walking all over Splatoon boys, but also a fight happening in the back where Secret Elixir can't get as much value as they want, but they still got more value out of this fight than their opponents, as now they're walking in, holding this tower. They're just, at this point, they don't even need to KO. They just need to continually throw specials, throw bombs, and throw shots at Splatoon boys until they go 3 members down just like that. They're looking to KO 3, 2, 1, and that is the KO. Secret Elixir taking this set 2-0 over Splatoon boys, but there's still one more match because it's a play all 3.
Very strong offensive gameplay from Secret Elixir. They're really looking at their comp and just keeping up that aggression the entire game throughout. They said, did we go 1 down? Doesn't matter. Did we go 2 down? Doesn't matter. Did we go 3 down? Does not matter. We are going to keep jumping in, getting picks, getting trades, keeping our specials online as long as we can, and getting a lot of value out of them with that aggressive hold of so much space was just denied from Splatoon boys there. But
Yeah.
they oh, sorry about that.
No, I feel like I'm cutting you off at this point. You go, you go.
Oh no, I just like had a moment tripped over my words for a little bit, and I feel like that's kind of. But I wanted to say that Splatoon boys recognized that they had to recognize they needed to regroup, got everybody together, and was able to slow down that aggression so heavily. And unfortunately, they just couldn't find it to keep it going, getting that last crucial pick they needed, because that aggression was almost like something you never see somebody go for. Like if you see 3 down, in your head you're thinking, I need to back up, I gotta regroup for my team. No, they did not give up a lot of space and let their team get back in, which they just weren't ready to handle.
Yeah, what we're definitely seeing is that Splatoon boys are able to fight Secret Elixir. They are getting a lot of valuable picks. The issue is that Secret Elixir are a very experienced team, so they know that as long as there is one person left alive, they can anchor, they can give jumps, they can create scenarios that they will get an advantage in. So if you're Splatoon boys, you really need to get those wipeouts. We saw in game 1, the only time they took the control of the map was when they got that wipeout. In Inkblot, they never really got any strong footing other than the opener where they got a double kill because Secret Elixir did not have time to get into an advantageous position. But we saw constantly Secret Elixir getting behind Splatoon boys, getting in positions where they can give jumps, and ultimately they played the map better even when they had less numbers. So if you're Splatoon boys, you really got to focus on getting more value with those picks and trying to get that wipeout, or at least keep the last remaining members at bay so they cannot take advantage of the scenario.
It's something like map knowledge is something that it's never something you like necessarily say, I need to work on this. It's just something that you get over time. The more you play the game, the better players you're going to fight. You just start to naturally gain this more advanced knowledge of map knowledge, where it's really something that you only get with experience. So getting into our game 3, Clamblitz on... Oh, excuse me. Clamblitz on one of my least favorite maps personally. But nonetheless, we are going to be seeing both teams return to the original comps, bringing out the Headit here from Splatoon boys instead of the Dynamo. An interesting choice in my opinion.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, a soda is a soda. You're going to need to bring that cooler in if you want to run it. Though I am curious to see that the splash wall coming in from the 52 Gal Deco. Not something we see as commonly. Usually we see that vanilla 52 coming in, such as the one we are seeing from the side of Secret Elixir. Now, Splatoon boys already kind of pushed back into their base. Not a great opening position, though, with 2 members of Secret Elixir down. We see those jumps coming in here. This is what I alluded to earlier. Secret Elixir know how to regain map control very quickly, even in a disadvantaged state. So Splatoon boys, 3 members walking in, fighting together. This is what you want to see. You want to see them picking off members of Secret Elixir one by one. Try to get an advantage point where Secret Elixir can't get those jumps in. They can't get that map control back on the flip of a coin. They need to fight for it. And that's what we just seen Splatoon boys do. So very good play from them. They're holding map control, and we need to see them gain even more from this.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, the 52 Gal Deca coming out, I think that's honestly, having screen is a very strong special, because as we see, it just allows you to really give your team the ability to regroup and almost acts as a mobile splash wall, just without that necessarily forceful denial of area, but we did see Secret Elixir manage to work past it, getting 3 picks, able to open up the basket and get a very strong push in,
Splatoon
getting all
boys.
the way down to 50.
Yeah, Splatoon boys are able to hold that out, but not at a scoreline they would like to see. They have this map control back. None of Secret Elixir are able to give jumps, so this is the position we want to see them in. They have the bubble. They are breaking. They are getting more clams in. Here comes the pity clam in with the jump. They will get the lead here. Now, they need to keep this going. They need to try to start staggering Secret Elixir and not just give up, though. Dan is in a fight against 2 people. They need to stay alive, or else Secret Elixir will get the map control. They do actually trade out 2. A lot of value there from Dan on that junior, giving Splatoon boys potentially some room to kind of keep this map control and maybe hold up this lead.
And we are definitely seeing Splatoon boys play off of that and keep a lot of their own area, not letting Secret Elixir get back in for free. Unfortunately, getting 1 down, but still able to hold so much space, especially with this edit. How much power and space you're going to hold with it. Just having any splatling is going to be very good at controlling the area, and we do see Splatoon boys using that to their advantage.
Now
we really just having.
Oh, sorry. We do see them holding in their gate. Now, they're starting to get a little bit staggered. Secret Elixir, they want to break smartly here. There is the break. They still need a couple more points to get past that penalty. 3 clams will get them the lead. There's 1, there's 2. They need 1 more, but they're starting to get pushed out a bit here. They have that power clam. They do jump it in. It does get in range, and it goes in the basket. That'll be the lead for Secret Elixir. Though Splatoon boys now looking to take some map control. They really need to get some pain on the ground, and we've seen them able to fight against Secret Elixir. We need to see that again, because there's only 1 minute and 38 seconds left. Zoe's in by themselves trying to fight. They're now behind Secret Elixir. Can they get a good pincer here coming? But no, Secret Elixir break the basket a second time. As soon as the basket drops back down, are just relentless pressure, jumping in 1 by 1, getting in clams, and they're just keeping Splatoon boys at bay.
And we do see that Secret Elixir keeping up, getting the wipe out, able to take them all the way down to 2 points, needing a singular clam in. Unfortunately, unable to jump to it, but with another jump coming in with the clam, we are going to see Secret Elixir take this set 3-0 against Splatoon boys. A very well played game from both teams. Secret Elixir just having that more experience behind their belt, giving them the edge they needed, but Splatoon boys not letting that hold them down and playing very well, extremely strong to do the best that they can, taking the lead this game and leaving them on the ropes.
When that last clam sitting right under the basket, too high to reach, and you need 1 more to win, I felt that in my soul. Obviously, Secret Elixir had the backup clams coming in to save the day and get that knockout, but Splatoon boys gave us a really good showing in this match. They did a lot of the things that I was alluding to in the break after game 2 to fight back against Secret Elixir. We saw them have a lead for a good portion of the game, about like 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. And ultimately, Secret Elixir did just bring in relentless pressure. We saw them break here in this replay. They get the lead. And then about 30 seconds later, they come in with another break in KO in that push. So once they realized they were losing, they said, no, we're breaking this a 3-0. We're going to just do what we do best and just completely steamroll over this team. But Splatoon boys had a lot of promise there, and for being such a much lower seed than Secret Elixir, they performed a lot better than one might expect. So I don't think that they should be too upset with this. As we are in groups, there's still a lot more chances to prove yourself and get a good bracket and try to make a good run tonight. So congratulations, Secret Elixir, for taking game 1 3-0 over Splatoon boys. And yeah, I'm excited to see who we have upcoming next.
Yeah, that was a very exciting set to watch. As you mentioned, just Secret Elixir, a very strong team, but Splatoon boys showing that they are also a very competent team, able to keep Secret Elixir on the ropes. And just in that last game, I want to talk about how they were able to keep that lead for so long, and we really didn't see Secret Elixir get it back until they were basically winning the game at that point. They struggled to get back in, and Splatoon boys played a very strong defense. It was just a shame that once it had cracked, that allowed Secret Elixir to get those 50 points they needed to secure a KO.
Yeah, it can definitely be hard sometimes to defend against some of those stronger teams. I was told once during a coaching session that you can play a shoddy offense and it's fine as long as the opponent's defense isn't perfect. If your defense is not perfect, if there's one single crack, it will break. But your offense, it doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. You just need to find that opening in the opponent's defense. So defense can definitely be a very, very hard thing to perfect. And when you have a team that's as strong as Secret Elixir throwing everything they have at your defense, they're going to find that hole. So you really need to cover all of your bases, figure out how they want to break in and try to counter it. And sometimes in the heat of the match, it's really hard to do that flawlessly. So again, a great effort from Splatoon boys. I'm excited to see how they're going to do throughout the rest of the night. Obviously, we may not see them back on stream, but you can still check out the bracket for those of you at home. You can watch the bracket and kind of cheer them on and see how they do, and hopefully they do great.
I'm sure they're going to do very well tonight. Honestly, it can be hard to go from a 3-0 set, but I still feel like that you can kind of look at that and go, we played well those games. We didn't do terribly. We didn't get rolled. We didn't get like absolutely destroyed. We showed everybody who is here tonight that we are able to contend with a very strong team, and that's something that they should be very proud of.
Now, I do believe we have a short break between matches as we're still waiting on a few sets. So, unless you have any other things you want to talk about, ideas, we can probably cut to a break and we will come back.
I do think we are good to go to a break here.
All right, perfect. So, with that being said, we will be back very, very soon with round 2 of groups for Prison Break 10. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back very soon. Welcome back, everyone, to Prism Break number 10. We have our next match coming up here, round 2 of groups. Rain Leviathal, which is a pickup of mostly Red Leviathan, but mixed with Santana the Sun, previously of Rainfall, and Pick, who also was previously in Rainfall and now is on Red Leviathans, versus Magical Cure Love Shot. Both of these teams, a lot of prominence recently in the lower levels, in that like Div 5 and just below range. So this is going to be a very, very close match, and I'm excited to see how this is going to go with these two teams here. Ideas, do you know much about either of these teams?
Unfortunately, I can't say I know too much about either of these teams, but what I can tell you right now is that this is going to be a very exciting set to watch because both of these teams have a lot of, as you mentioned, these teams have a lot of more of these lower level results, but nonetheless, results nonetheless. And I would say that they're almost kind of even in like their skill level, so it's going to be very exciting to watch a set that has the potential to be very close. And getting into our first game here on Mako Zones, I think this is a map that we're gonna be able to see both teams really thrive in due to how it has so much what's the word here? More like openness for experimentation, I'll say. Where you can have a lot of different game plans that all work out here. You can play aggressively, you can play defensively, you can have a fast game, you can have a slow game, and it will all work out because Mako Zones is just one of the more balanced maps that we see.
Definitely. And with these two teams being so close in skill level, we'll get to kind of see which one will come out on top. Again, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but yes, to talk more about these teams as they're readying up, Red Leviathans is a new roster of a around Div 5 level team. I'm not too familiar with some members on the roster, Cloud and Sim. I don't actually know if that's how to pronounce it. But yes, Pick and Santana the Sun being previously in Rainfall, which is a team that made top 32 in Riptide and have recently, I believe both of them just got banned from Low Inc. And Magical Cure Love Shot is a team that's been making a lot of high placements in a lot of Div 5 capped tournaments, such as All for One, and making some good runs in Low Inc. So both teams coming in hot here. Magical Cure Love Shot pressuring the zone and taking it immediately with one pick, one member going down, and now another member going down on Rain Leviathal. So a very strong opening from Magical Cure Love Shot. They're looking to kind of keep control here. Both two members down. This junior of Soap trying to just keep a bit of pressure on, not lose the zone quite yet, give their team some time to get back in. And it looks like they've yet to lose the zone and they get the cap again.
It was really interesting to see how Magic Cure Love Shot was able to get in and really show off this aggression, just having all their players kind of scoop in. But we do see Rain Leviathan back them off, getting all these picks out, taking them out one by one, forcing them back to their plat and really keeping them back. With the Zipcaster coming out, forcing them to stall out even longer and just not able to get back inside, giving more and more points on the board for Rain Leviathan to take the lead here. We do see the slider come out, forcing the zone to get flipped with a little bit of support here, giving Magical Gear Love Shot the ability to get a couple picks one by one, forcing everybody out and allowing them to get back the zone, get a lot of control over mid. We are going to see a little bit of, with the hammer coming out on both sides actually, getting a pick for Magical Cure Love Shot. Unfortunately, nothing for Rain Leviathan there, but with Cooler online for them, we will see them probably push back in here.
I am loving the patience I am seeing from Magical Cure Love Shot. They didn't care they were losing the lead. They sat there and they had 3 specials ready and waited for the perfect opportunity to walk in. They got that reslider out, they got the bubble and the hammer, and were able to get some picks. And then again, we saw the Wiper player with that hammer sharking under the left plat, waiting for someone to drop to get that hammer kill. And now, because of that patience, Magical Cure Love Shot looking to hopefully KO here with only 5 ticks from the lead, though Rain Leviathal does manage to break back in and get that penalty. So they have a bit more leeway here to try to get back in this match. But Magical Cure Love Shot have shown that they are patient, they are ready. So now we see they're going to actually get picked off too. They were looking to get some specials ready, but Rain Leviathal was able to kind of put a stop to that. Now, skirmishing back and forth on this zone. They want to try to not regain that penalty. They want to keep that number going down, trying to push members out of Magic with Pure Love Shot, unable to do so, and they're going to take back the zone.
We did see a lot of skirmishing just coming out from Rain Leviathan, trying to hold off and really give their team a little bit more time to get in there, especially with that blaster just really trying to hold them off and back them up, force them to pop their bubble a little bit earlier and not really getting it in a extremely good position, like as if it were on the zone or something, only able to hold their block, but still good enough to force them to slow down. And we're going to see Rain Leviathan push everybody off of Magic Pure Love Shot all the way back into their base. Just second by second, all of them leaving on that right side there. We do see 2 go down to a bomb, allowing Magic Pure Love Shot to get back in with the bubble, just able to really force them all back up and putting the game back into a more skirmishing side state for both teams here. Really just slowing down that pace of the game, and then Magic Pure saying, nope, we're going to speed it up. There goes that bomb. And getting them back into how they want to play here.
With a lead all the way down to 5 points, you have a lot of time if you want to just wait for that perfect opportunity, and a double kill to a bomb sounds like the best opportunity you can possibly get. So taking full advantage of that, we see Soap on this junior just throwing a lot of bombs, putting out bubbles, just giving space for their team to continue to skirmish on this zone, trying to get that penalty, because Rain Leviathan want to count down here. There's that penalty they're looking for. But with 3 members down, they do have the hammer. Will they use it? No. They jump out to regroup with their team. Again, the patience from Magic with Your Love Shot is their main strength right now. They're looking for an opportunity. They know that right now they only need to push in once if they want to win this game with 30 seconds left. And with 2 members down to Rain Leviathan, we see 2 members of Magic Pure Love Shot walking forward. There's that bubble we've been seeing from Soap. They are painting out the zone. Here comes that hammer they've been holding this whole time. Will they cap the zone and get the penalty that will give them an almost surefire win? They haven't been able to get it yet. And there it is. They get the cap. There's 10 seconds left. Rain Leviathan, we need to get this zone now.
And Rain Leviathan, even at that downside, unfortunately going down, able to get the zone back into contestant, but Magical Cure Love Shot able to hold it out just long enough to get that game 1 win under their belt.
That's exactly what I wanted to see in this match, was have it be close and both teams showing their different strengths. But again, I keep talking about this patience for Magic Cure Love Shot. That is one of the biggest things in the low level of Splatoon that teams struggle with, and they're showing that they've mastered it. That point I brought up earlier where the Wiper player, I don't know the name of them, from Magic Your Love Shot, jumping out with the hammer instead of using it on instead of using it on those players running at them, just focused and like patient and just zen, ready. Just they know what they need to do, and it's not something you expect to see from players of this level. So, very, very good gameplay. And again, both these teams are not pushovers. Rain Leviathan, 2 members banned from Low Inc, and Red Leviathans, the team that this is a pickup of, is a team with very strong players on it. So just very, very strong gameplay. I'm trying to think of words to explain this, but I'm still recovering from that last match.
And sometimes, sometimes you don't really need more words than just outstanding, amazing, exhilarating. Sometimes you just need a couple words and you can just repeat those on point, because that is what that game was. It was truly exhilarating to watch this back and forth action going from both teams, showing that they know not only when to use their specials, but how to use them properly. Because just as we saw in the replay, the Zuka getting 2 picks, allowing Rainfall back there to get back in. And then we see a hammer come out, allowing them to slow down a push instantly. So both teams really on top of their game. Just Magical Cure Love Shot being able to be on top a little bit more. But getting into our game 2, the question is, will they be able to keep maintaining that little bit of edge they have right here into Barnacle and Dime Clams?
Now, if you're Rain Leviathan, if you're listening into the stream, you're trying to stream snipe, you're trying to glean some info, here's what you do. Magical Cure Love Shot are very patient. They play very special heavy. And we saw one of your best pushes was you managed to take out 2 members of Magical Cure Love Shot who had specials and were ready and were waiting. That is Rain Leviathal's perfect opportunity, is to find the players who have a special ready for Magical Cure Love Shot and to pick them off before they're able to coordinate with their team. If they do that, they're going to play so patient and wait so long that they're going to lose out. So that is your win condition if you're Rain Leviathal, is to prevent that patience from paying out. You need to just prevent that moment where they all decide now's the time to go. And hopefully we're going to see them do that in this match.
And you know, it's a map like this that honestly can be quite the issue in my opinion, because it is so leaned towards being aggressive and staying on the communication error screen. But as I was saying, it is so heavily leaned towards being offensive in playing at your most aggressive throughout every single push because of how much space you gain just by the mere notion of breaking open their basket. You essentially get left with only your plat to play from. And for Rain Leviathan, I think if they're able to go in and really, as you said, stop all of those coordinated special pushes, then we will be able to see them secure a win here with, especially if they're able to find these picks that delay these specials from happening. But if Magical Cure Love Shot is able to get in with that special, I think we will see very strong points come out of that, because even just having a bubble up is going to be immensely good for them because of how quick you can start to score points on this map.
Yeah, and especially with the comp that we saw from Rain Leviathal first game, we saw the carbon roller coming in from Sim. We saw the stamper coming in from San. Those are 2 very strong in your face weapons that can one shot you or combo you to death in a very short amount of time. And with that Rapid Blaster Pro Deco coming out as well from Pick, there's a lot of utility there to get those very, very quick and very those quick picks that Magical Cure Love Shot might not be ready for. You can kill them before they're even aware they're in a fight. And that's what they're going to need to utilize, is just the speed at which their comp can achieve what they want to. So as much as I talked about how patience is one of those big things that low-level teams need to focus on, if anything, Rain Leviathal might need to speed up a bit more and just get so quick that Magical Cure Love Shot has no choice but to try to match their pace. Though, that being said, they don't need to rush into things by themselves. They still need to coordinate, but they need to coordinate at that faster pace.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of teams that, especially in, I'd say more in the Div 5 and 6 range, are going to struggle with, is trying to force the speed of the game. Because you don't want to play at the enemy speed, you want to play at your speed, and you want to make sure that you're able to force them to play at your speed, which is just a skill that you don't really see understood at its best on these lower levels, but we are going to see both teams going in for the mid fight and really just fighting for any ground here. Able to get 2 down on Rain Leviathal, letting Magical Cure Love Shot get in a little bit more with this Tetra. Unfortunately, backing up everybody on Rain Leviathan, pushing in heavily into this bone for a very strong opening to this match, getting the break with the bubble on top of it.
Very, very early push Magic Cure Love Shot, though unable to get any other clams into that basket. The pencil player having to jump out. Now, speaking of the pencil, one thing we've yet to mention that is kind of curious about Magic Cure Love Shot, they are running a coolerless comp. They have the pencil, but they're running the version that has the Ink Storm instead of the soda. So again, just another testament to how patient this team likes to play. They don't care about having that cooler and the buff on it. They'd rather just get those specials ready and have that storm to kind of help push them in when they do coordinate those specials. Though now they are on the defensive half. Rain Leviathal pushing up, going 2 members down. Can they take a page out of Secret Elixir's book and try to win out the stagger by getting jumps? No, unfortunately, both remaining members going down. Magic Cure Love Shot is walking in and looking to set up mid here for a potential push.
As you did note, we are seeing the red pen come out, and with that rain, I think it's important to note, I think that only goes to further show, as you mentioned, that more passive comp, but we do see that their specials are Hammer and Zipcaster for their more aggressive specials, both that leave you very vulnerable. So having that rain up online with those specials uh gives you that swim form health regen that you can really be in dire need of whenever you're leaving yourself in such a vulnerable situation for so long. And that is some coordination that I think is truly noteworthy here as we see the Hammer come out, getting three, forcing everybody on Rain Leviathan to either get out or get down as we see the basket get broken one more time for Magic Cure Love Shot in a much more beneficial state here, able to get in a couple more clams if they're able to find the time to do that. But it doesn't look like Rain Leviathan is going to let them, forcing them out off of their plat, forcing them to back up all the way into mid, regrouping, using that cooler and their specials to the most of its capabilities with the zip coming out and just really forcing everybody to back up.
As you mentioned, those Ultra Stamps from Usualist on that Wiper have been very strong in these last two matches. And again, Useless being the one to break the basket twice so far in this game, but no other clams have been scored other than those two breaks. They're looking potentially here to get a push and maybe change the story here. See Alan throwing in that power clam, and now we do potentially see some clams coming in. There we go. They're finally scored some normal clams. Rain Leviathan looking to push out Magic Cure Love Shot. They save the pity clam. Trying to push out, though, going one down to the pencil. Magic Cure Love Shot are just holding out this position. They're not giving up space. They know that they can just stall. They're down to 51 points. They've basically gotten a really, really good opening. Rain Leviathan will need 3 power clams if they want to get a lead in a quick amount of time. So a little bit of a safety net's been built up, and we're gonna have to kind of see if Rain Leviathan can keep it cool and try to push past this boundary.
In pushing in, it does look like Rain Leviathan is making an effort to getting that zip in, but just Magical Cure Love Shot taking that opportunity, that little edge they saw to be super aggressive, pushing, getting 1, 2, and 3 picks right there. Only having the zap left up with the Hammer coming out on top of the slider is really going to put them in a bad position. And as we see, they do get the pick there, which that immense coordination right there, allowing Magical Cure Love Shot to take what should have been a very strong spot for Rain Leviathan and completely reverse the odds there. Getting it open, scoring a couple more clams in, only 39 points left. Nobody is able to get these clams in, but it is good enough for a 30-second lasting timer. Really going to put Rain Leviathan on the hot seat.
So much coordination coming from Magic Cure Love Shot. In that last play, we saw the Hammer from Usualist, we saw this brief slider from Grodd, both coming out, just pushing players into bad positions and just not letting them get any value from anything. Usualist, the last member alive of Magic Cure Love Shot, the rest of the team is running in, keeping paint on the ground, preventing Rain Leviathan from breaking the basket here. They have a power clam here, so they are able to break, though they do only have a few seconds here before overtime ends. Cloud is in a bit of a bad spot. They need to get this ball in. They do manage to get it, so they extend the overtime. With 2 members down, they're not in a great position to start keeping this basket open.
And it doesn't look like they will be able to keep the basket open a little bit longer, but they just do not have the clam economy needed to get that point lead. And as we saw, Magical Cure Love Shot was able to clean them up one by one and secure the victory for them. A very well played game by Magical Cure Love Shot and Rain Leviathan. Something I was very surprised by was to see Magical Cure Love Shot come out with that such an aggressive opening there, because as you noted, they played very slow last game. So to see them come out with such an explosive start was very surprising to see.
I mean, I wouldn't say they play slow. I feel like they play patient. There's a very big distinction there. Patient can look slow a lot of the time, and it's more about understanding when is the time to push and coordinating that push. So that opening is a very big point where they know that they can catch them off guard, and if they believe they can win that fight and get in good positions, they need to take it. Obviously, there was probably a shot call in their comms to decide, yes, we're going to do this, we're going to walk in, we're going to push. So it is something that we probably didn't expect from them, but I'm not too surprised to see it because they seem very coordinated. And again, this is a team I'm not too familiar with, Magical Cure Love Shot, but I know a lot of people who are fans of them and a lot of people who've been talking about them. So I'm not too surprised to see them coming out into this set already going 2-0 over Rain Leviathal. But it is a playoff 3. There is still a third match. There is an opportunity for Rain Leviathal to get a win under their belt in this set and not have it be a 3-0 sweep. So they're going to need to find some answers here. An Undertow Spillway, Rainmaker, very common map and mode, very aggressive, good for pushing, and this might be the ticket that they need to kind of find a solution to Magical Cure Love Shot's patience and coordination.
Yeah, and I think that coordination might be what we are going to see Magical Cure Love Shot really benefit from, because this is a more chokeholdy kind of map here, especially whenever you're trying to push into that after that check on the left side, because God forbid you take the right check on this map. You just have to force yourself through there or go all the way around, leaving yourself not only in a more linear and open position, but just a very like, what is the word here? A very vulnerable, where you don't have many options, and the best option, you have to retreat, would put you very far behind in the game. So I think that patience is definitely going to be the deciding factor in this game here. Out Crab for Rain Leviathan. Not something they had brought before, but it's going to be interesting, especially allowing them to have more pressure on getting pops here with Magical Cure Love Shot, keeping their tried and true comp that has worked for them.
The Crab can definitely be a great tool here to kind of solidify the defenses of Rain Leviathal and give them some ground to hold whenever Magical Cure Love Shot comes in with their coordinated specials. Now, both teams going down 3 members each. It's just Cloud versus Alan here. Cloud putting down some sodas for their teammates once they get the jumps in. They're going to grab the Rainmaker just to kind of buy some time, maybe get some picks and look to try to push it, but right now they're just looking for space. Almost going down to the bomb, Squid rolling around, trying to survive as long as they can. They do go 2 members down, so it's in a bit of an awkward spot. Magical Cure Love Shot now getting the map control, though, again, getting picked off by Sim on that roller, getting behind enemy lines is what we want to see from Rain Leviathal. They have those aggressive weapons that can get in. Well, I mean, now with the Stamper missing, it's just the Carbon, but that Carbon still needs to get in there, needs to fight behind enemy lines.
And speaking of getting in, we do see Rain Leviathan push it all the way to the check, only really getting held off at that last second, which just incredible work of teamwork there to really find that missing point in their defense and pierce through it, giving them a very good lead here early on into this match. But with the bubble up, it's going to be hard for Rain Leviathan to stop them from getting checked, especially with 2 members down. And as we see Magical Cure keeping up the aggression and able to stop the check, but not for long, as we see Magical Cure Love Shot break through.
Rod on the back half of Rain Leviathal, trying to cause a distraction, maybe get some picks. Didn't get as much value as they wanted, but Magic Cure Love Shot are still in position to keep this push going. As I said, that Commentator's Curse, 3 members going down. Actually, I believe that is a delayed wipe, as Grod's the first one back. So they're back to mid. They haven't gotten a huge lead, but they have gotten that checkpoint, which does give them a bit of an advantage state. Now, Rain Leviathal trying to kind of get back some map control, get back some pressure. They need to find a good footing here and get some picks, but both teams just kind of staggering each other back and forth. Now, something I do want to see is utilizing that right side of the map. Maybe not for a push, maybe for some flanks. I feel like both these teams have comps that can gain a lot from getting in those side flanks with the specials and weapons they have. But for now, it's a bit of a skirmish in mid.
Yeah, and we do just see that these teams are getting picks left and right. One and then they get picked off right after. But it does look like it is in the favor for Magical Cure Love Shot to get one more pick than the other, able to break in with only the Carbon forcing them back, really delaying that push right there, allowing their team to get more time to push, to regroup and push in. But as you mentioned, we do have a lot of weapons here that would benefit from being able to get behind and flank. So it is surprising to see how they're just not taking the opportunity to go right. But going right is what's working out for Magic Pure Love Shot. Going around the barrier, able to take it down all the way to 2 points before getting delayed wiped by Rain Leviathan. Really putting them on edge for this last minute 30 of this game. To force them to not only play aggressive, but to play aggressive and play smart. Which that impatience might be what gives Magic Pure Love Shot the winning defense.
We see Rain Leviathan working together here to try to clear up some space, though running out of time. That Rainmaker only 17 seconds before they explode. Bit of an awkward position because they know they're going to have to start a new push here. There goes the explosion. Magical Cure Love Shot taking advantage of that, getting a wipeout. And with less than a minute left, this is not looking good if you're a fan of Rain Leviathan, because they now need to break back out, get that Rainmaker, and start a push.
And we do see the Carbon going around, getting behind, able to start something in hopes, while the rest of Rain Leviathan forces them to be on edge and keep them on their toes, with this Crab coming out, getting 1, getting 2, getting 3, with just the Tetra Sharking behind. Can they get found? They are spotted, able to get a pick, staying behind. Maybe we'll see something similar to what Secret Elixir pulled off earlier and have their team come in from behind and pincer them off, not letting them stay in for free, but they do jump out to get into a better position to stop this Rainmaker from securing check. With only 10 seconds left on the clock, and I believe 30 seconds left on that Rainmaker, they are on the edge right here, about to fall off. With the bubble coming out, it is going to be very hard to get in, and the hammer is going to secure that RM pick right there, giving the set to Magical Cure Love Shot 3-0.
Very unfortunate position to be in. It is possible to win there. Again, only about 20 seconds left that Rainmaker, but if they were able to break that checkpoint, it would reset the overtime timer and give them more space. But that hammer coming in from Useless on that wiper, able to kind of be the nail in the coffin there, just creating an unwinnable scenario for Rain Leviathan. Very strong games for Magical Cure Love Shot. Just again, coming in here 3-0 against a team like Rain Leviathan, who on paper should be the stronger team, I do believe. So very strong showing, though. Again, Rain Leviathan here were not pushovers. They did have a lot of merit to their playing. It seemed like they were just one step behind Magical Cure Love Shot today.
And you know, I think that you can kind of find that because, as you mentioned, Rain Leviathan is made up of 2 different teams coming together to play in a pickup together for this event here. And I think that that is something that you only have with more teams that have played together, is team knowledge and coordination. Because on paper, you can have good coordination, but you need to have that background with players. Because if you have played with your best friend, your closest friends for the longest time, you don't need to give out these small callouts if you're going to do something stupid or you're going to do something that maybe isn't the best play ever, because you know that your team is already well aware of how you play the game and how to adapt around you, and even better, work with you. And I think that was really the deciding factor that was able to give Magical Cure Love Shot the upper hand in all of these matches here.
For sure. They definitely had a lot more comfort with each other's play styles, it does seem. Again, from what I know from Rain Leviathan, it is 3 members of Red Leviathans, which is a new roster too. So even though it is a team, it is a relatively new roster. They may have less experience playing with each other. And I know that Pick and Santana the Sun, both from Rainfall previously, before I believe they disbanded shortly after Riptide. I don't quite know the timeline on that, so don't quote me. But yeah, Magical Cure Love Shot definitely have been playing together longer, and that may have given them that extra edge with that comfort, that familiarity, and the ability to kind of read what your teammates want to do. And they've been able to solidify that play style that we've been seeing them run that entire set. Again, that patience, that coordination, being able to just work together with your teammates. We saw a lot of those hammers coming out from Userless being able to work together with different specials like those resliders from Grodd, and just overall confidence is the word I'd like to use there for Magical Cure Love Shot in that set.
Yeah, I think we definitely saw a lot more just maybe not confidence, but just sh- belief, I want to say. Because I think that we kind of saw just how much more adaptability Magical Cure Love Shot had in real teamwork that they just were naturally have on their back that they don't need to worry about such of these smaller things and just able to really get in there. And as you said, they have a very patient play style. That's something that can be quite hard to play against already because you have to not only find the opening, but you have to find the opening that they aren't prepared to defend.
And not only finding that opening, but being able to effectively coordinate and walk on that. There, a common trend is a lot of teams will, a player will see the opening and they'll call it out and they'll go for it before the team can respond and prepare for that opening. You need to make sure that you're on the same pace as your team, and even just an extra second or two too far ahead of your team can cause you to go down immediately, and then you leave your team in a disadvantaged state, and it can just cause a bit of a snowball. So very very precise timing needs to be had if you want to do things perfectly. And Magical Cure Love Shot have shown us multiple times through this entire set that they had that timing nailed down and they're ready to just keep pushing through and steamrolling through teams that may not have that perfect coordination like theirs.
It was truly a sight to see how they just worked through and was able to find like all of these smaller issues, patch them up kind of, if you understand what I'm saying here. Maybe not worded the best, but they were just able to find these like small flaws and not only use them to their most advantage, but also just play with them in a manner where it didn't negatively affect them heavily.
Now, I do
And
believe we're going to be going straight into our next match as round 3 of groups is ready. Yes, we will be seeing So Much Fun versus Lemon Cider.
So this is going to be very exciting. I'm going to take the time to ask you if you know anything about either of these teams here.
Well,
Wow, we get
So Much
into this
Fun
set.
I do believe this is a pickup, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, never mind. They do actually, yes, they have a Sendo page, but it does say that they are a pickup group from earlier this month. And Lemon Cider is an established team, though. Embarrassingly, I do not know enough about them, despite them being. I've seen them in a lot of tournaments. I've seen a lot of events, and I do recognize the names of a lot of their players from pickups, from tournaments, from even just social media. But they're not a team that I know a lot about personally, like their playstyles and weapons. The only assumption I can make is that V Heavy is probably going to be playing the V Heavy.
That would be a solid assumption to make. If you had to ask me, I could believe that V Heavy does in fact like to play the V Heavy. Which is very interesting because I feel like V Heavy is not a weapon I have seen often, even in open, I would say. It's very rare I see it ran over the more oppressive splatlings like Nautilus or Ballpoint.
It can
Even
definitely.
headed
It's definitely not a very popular pick, but I'd say it's a very strong pick. I know very few vanilla heavy players, but they are very, very, very good at what they do. Not to talk too much about myself, but on my team personally, our captain has mains heavy and has since Splatoon 1, and they have more hours on the heavy than I have in the entire Splatoon series. So it is very, very scary when the heavy is in her hands. And I do believe that V Heavy here in Lemon Cider also has a lot of experience with the weapon from what I've heard. And I'm sure the rest of the team too are very confident in their weapon picks. And I'm ready to see both these teams just kind of be oppressive with their weapons and know how to play best.
It's going to be very interesting. I'm wondering how we will see these teams work around if they're going to opt for cooler or not, especially through our last set where we saw a coolerless comp being able to beat out the cooler comp, really fighting the stigma that if you don't have cooler, you're already playing at a downside, and showing that what matters most above all is team coordination and being able to understand not only the map, but also how your teammates are going to play and why your teammates are playing the weapons they play, how your specials work off of each other. So it's going to be interesting to see because V Heavy is just not a weapon that I feel like you can throw into any comp. You kind of have to play around it. You have to make your comp more centralized around the fact you have a V Heavy and not really able to just go like compare it to weapons like shot or wiper or pencil where you kind of just throw them onto your comp and it's like yeah it's fine, but V heavy is something that you play around and if you know how to play around it can be very deadly because as you mentioned your captain has played V heavy for all of their Splatoon lifetime, and fighting someone who's that confident on their weapon can in and of itself be a good enough reason for why they should be on that weapon as opposed to a more meta pick.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to sometimes is that the comfort. There are a lot of players who play off meta weapons because they don't care what is classified as good or what is easier to be stronger with. They have something they enjoy. It's their niche, and they've learned it very well, and it can be very, very scary. I can't tell you how many times I've played in tournaments and seen people play nozzle noses and different umbrellas and these weapons that you don't see in comp, but they just wipe the floor with your team because they know what they're doing. And both of these teams, they should know what they're doing based on their results, their placements, and just some of these players in these teams. They should be in that mid-level area, in those higher looty divs, as we like to kind of classify people in. Like both these teams are above what we classify as the low level, so we should be seeing some really strong players here.
Yeah, because just as you mentioned, this So Much Fun is in fact a pickup team, but they are a Div 2, I believe, a Div 2 pickup team. So I'm not sure, I'm not fully confident if all the players that are playing tonight are in fact Div 2, but still being in that Div 2 and 3 level is something that you have to be proud of. And getting into our first game on ship-shaped zones here, I am going to be excited to see what these teams bring out because we do have a Blaster 1 trick, I believe. So if we will see the Range Blaster come out from them, which we do not, we see the bucket. Both teams deciding to bring out Dread, the V Heavy coming out also. So
Now,
as we as we did infer, V Heavy does play V Heavy.
so what I'd like to notice here is we're talking about these niche off-meta picks. We're looking at a silver Aerospray right here. Now, So Much Fun are running a bit of a gimmick here. They are running 4 Reef Sliders. That's probably where that Aerospray pick is coming from. They just wanted to pick a Reef Slider weapon that was unique. Now, 3 members going down to the Reef Slider from Lemon Cider, bringing their own special in and showing that they know how to use it well. Lemon Cider looking to take this zone already, trying to push for a lead. It's not a huge lead, but it's going to be a lead nonetheless. Now, they need to try to push So Much Fun out, because So Much Fun have 4 Reef Sliders. They have a very, very, very easy way to take a zone and to push in quickly. So if you're Lemon Cider, you're going to need to hold some perfect space.
Not only does Lemon Cider have to hold their space very well, they have to be fully aware of what special is ready when, because if you just have a slider come out anytime, as we saw earlier, 2 sliders came out instantly, forcing a pick off, and just constantly seeing one slider after another with the flank coming around for Lemon Cider, able to wait off and be a little bit more patient for their team to really get in there, not getting too aggressive. So it's just going to be a struggle to see if Lemon Slider is able to push back So Much Fun with this very aggressive slider comp, just one after the other.
Yeah, those sliders can be very impressive if used the right way. 15 ticks left till So Much Fun takes this. The slider from Lemon Cider coming out, unable to get enough value, and that may be the nail in the coffin as no one else is able to cap that zone. And So Much Fun running a very, very off-meta gimmick, but coming out in their favor as they prove that they are strong players, we alluded to earlier, and utilizing those sliders very well. Slider is a special that is people typically make fun of for not being very strong. But we saw, as you mentioned, using 2 sliders onto one person to confirm the kill and just completely paint out their entire court. We see right there, pincering those sliders together, taking down 2 members of Lemon Cider. It can be very impressive when used correctly.
I think it's important to note that, as you mentioned, people like to clown on Slider for being a very subpar special, but in this match, we saw that they were able to take Slider and not use it for the zone cheese that it's well known for, but use it to just absolutely control space, giving utter dominance, because if you see the Slider coming out, you have to respect its space. It will, in fact, kill you, just similar to Strikes, but the trade-off is where Strikes gives you three detonator bombs that you can just throw away. Slider puts you right in the action, so you have to give it your full attention. You can't just choose to ignore it, because if you ignore it, then you're going to see that Aerospray, you're going to see that Dread, you're going to see that Tetra in your face killing you.
Interestingly enough, one of the weaknesses of Slider is that after you finish using it, you're vulnerable because you're kind of stuck there in open space by yourself. So it seems that So Much Fun, their solution is to just send a second slider after your first slider to protect the teammate who is now vulnerable. And it seems to work out very well because they're able to just keep clearing out those space, and they weren't really getting dunked on after they were using those sliders. So now the real question is that, are they going to be bringing that into Hagglefish Market tower control? Reef Slider, not really known for being that useful or strong in tower control. It does have some merit. You can use it on the tower and run into the pole and kind of sit on it like you're a Kraken. But at that point, just play Kraken. So it'll be interesting to see if they're going to keep this gimmick and use it offensively and aggressively, as we saw in Game 1, and use it just to push up while they have someone running the tower. Or if they're going to look to maybe even switch to a different gimmick, or I'm not quite sure what we're going to see from them here.
And honestly, if we do see that Slider gimmick stay in, I do not think it will work out for them, because Hagglefish Market is not a map that Slider is extremely powerful on. And we have the DC coming in. Is this the gimmick we are seeing with the Clash Blasters? Very interesting to see So Much Fun pull out.
We see a bit of a sneak peek at what they're planning to run in this match, a quad Clash Blaster. Now, that is a weapon that's going to be very annoying for Haggle tower control. Clash Blaster can be annoying in tower control. It's definitely a strong weapon on Hagglefish Market. I personally have run a lot of series and open rotations with Clash Blaster on this map because it does feel very, very strong here. And with that, those 2, I believe they're probably going to be running 2 Zukas and 2 Chumps. It could be tricky here for the side of Lemon Cider to kind of keep that under control.
I would think it'd be even more than tricky, because you have to consider that one of the things that Clash really prides itself on is doing chip damage. And as we saw in that last game, they are able to coordinate themselves well with each other. So having 2 Clash Blasters come at you instantaneously, hitting you both for 30 damage and turning it back into what is almost a 2-shot for free can be extremely deadly, especially if they are able to hit those directs and turn it, what would be a 2-shot, into just a 1-shot almost. But with the usage of Chumps giving you a lot of chip damage, and Zuka giving you chip, and not to mention, of course, the Splat Bombs giving you chip damage as well, it might just seem like there is not enough ground for Lemon Cider to truly stop So Much Fun from having so much fun.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things too where, as they are named So Much Fun and as they're running these gimmicks, you can tell they are just kind of, they're probably having a good time for sure, and that can really help. Maybe it's different when you're playing in competitive, but for me, when I'm playing casually, if I'm try-harding and focusing and trying to optimize things, I start to slip up a little bit and get too much in my head, where if I'm just not even fully paying attention, I'm just having fun with it, I tend to do a bit better because I autopilot and don't overthink. So that could be to the merit of So Much Fun, just not overthinking it. They're definitely trying for sure, but running these comps that are off meta and having a gimmick to each pick can just kind of increase morale, which can lead to a win.
I can tell you right now, I can hear the So Much Fun comms, and they are just laughing. They are making jokes. They're not. They're playing very well. They're playing very seriously. But the moment the game ends, they're just like telling the most dumb joke you've ever heard between their friends and enjoying themselves to the fullest. They're truly having so much fun. But with these gimmicks, they are extremely vulnerable. Clash does not have that much range. And with Lemon Cider having that dedicated V heavy, it might be more than easy for Lemon Cider to really play around that and force so much fun to have to rethink their game plan and probably have to lock in a little bit more than is expected for a comp that is meant to, or a team that is meant to only be having fun.
For sure. That is the one. That's the one caveat with running a gimmick, is that it's not well rounded enough. There are going to be holes in that comp. There are ways to shut down a quad Clash Blaster comp. As much as they're a very annoying comp and one that will be able to keep you at bay, there are options to get around it, and it's up to Lemon Cider to work together to find that solution and then implement it in a way that they are able to push forward and win. Though now I do believe So Much Fun is actually currently pulling in a sub, as I guess one of their members may be having internet problems or otherwise. So now we're gonna see if they can pull in the fifth, who also would like to run the Clash Blaster.
I'm sure that the fifth is. I do believe that they have 5 members on their roster, so that's if that is who's pulling in their fifth and going to sub in for them, they are going to run the quad clash. But if not, it's going to be interesting to see what they do about the fourth member not being down for the bit and just killing the vibe. Would really ruin So Much Fun's ability to have fun and could completely ruin their mentality and destroy their game plan. Getting into our match here, we are going to find out. Will So Much Fun be running So Much Fun? They do not have the quad clash, but still having a short range weapon like Cry there, especially with Cooler, is going to be very helpful for them, because having that Cooler online is going to allow these short range weapons to get in a little bit more easily and not struggle as much with getting picks and everything.
Now, hear me out. Maybe this was the plan from the beginning. They intentionally DC to show us the 3 Clash Blasters, to not show us that they actually wanted to run the Tri-Slosher the whole time. This is the big brain stuff that So Much Fun's coming in here with. Though, getting 2 members down on both sides, skirmishing in the middle, here we see Lemon Cider getting a wipe and So Much Fun. This is what they wanted to look for. They have an opportunity to push up here and get in a good position and keep those Clash Blasters out of range of the tower. Though that being said, we do see, I believe, 2 different Zukas being shot out at the tower, getting the pick, but not getting as much value as they wanted, as they are starting to get steamrolled by Lemon Cider, keeping them at bay, already pushing the first checkpoint.
And as you did note, we did see 2 Zukas come out from So Much Fun, just really destroying that tower. But fortunately enough for Lemon Cider, they were able to recover and get these picks off. They are just constantly going in and fighting, destroying these Clash Blasters, abusing the fact that the Clash doesn't have that much range. Its killing potential is subpar compared to the Viper, compared to Machine, and compared to this Roller. It's just going to not be able to get in as easily as it would like. And finding those picks is going to be a struggle for So Much Fun here. But able to recover a bit and force Lemon Cider to back up with the hammer coming out. Really gonna get a couple picks there. 2 down on the side of So Much Fun. 3 down now, giving Lemon Cider the ability to get back in and keep their push going.
Now, a problem we're seeing here for So Much Fun is that they don't have a great option to paint. Their best painting ability is the super jumps from the Clash Blaster Neo. We saw them trying to walk back into mid, unable to take back the space, and Lemon Cider able to just walk straight back at them and continue that fight. So Much Fun is now in control of the tower. They are pushing that first checkpoint, and you can see the map is still fairly blue. There's still a lot of influence there from Lemon Cider with ink on the ground. Now So Much Fun does take the lead. though Lemon Cider are holding up this choke point. They do get 2 members down, make that 3 as they're all respawning, and Lemon Cider are looking to take back this map very, very quickly.
And just like that, we did see Lemon Cider, in fact, get a delayed wipe, forcing everybody out. But will it be enough for them to push all the way in and secure that lead back? Just getting that couple more points they need just to get there. With not having to deal with the check anymore is going to make it a lot more easy to really push through here, because one of the struggles on this map, it can be pushing that first check. So having both teams past it is going to really open up the game to anybody's lead here. And we do see Lemon Cider taking the lead, getting 2 down on So Much Fun, keeping them back and forcing them up. The mini bubble coming out, giving So Much Fun a little bit more room to play, but not enough, as Lemon Cider keeps getting them one after the other. That roller really putting in work, getting picks left and right.
Yeah. That unfortunate bubble coming in from Koki on the roller, though Mayo on that machine did kind of roll or swim into the bubble and use it for cover, taking advantage of a bad situation. Lemon Cider now are in control of the map. They do have a lack of numbers, but just the ability to paint the ground, though the heavy going down, getting traded, and just picks going back and forth. That is a delayed wipe. Mayo is the first back with that machine, painting around for Azuka, though not going to be able to get it very soon. Looking to just set up and basically defend that second checkpoint, because they do have that little bit of leeway if they can defend that.
I think it's kind of interesting that you can kind of look at So Much Fun's comp here, and as they just get squished in by Lemon Cider, that machine on the side of Lemon Cider playing by Mayo, as you mentioned earlier, is able to really abuse everything Clash wants to abuse to their own abilities as well, and just take what Clash says, oh, this is a ledge, I can poke here. Machine's gonna poke you from on top of that ledge, getting even more damage and killing you for it, which is kind of being the Achilles heel almost for So Much Fun's ability to have fun in this game here, as we see them get what I believe was a triple and just keep this momentum going up into the last 10 seconds of this match here.
Lemon Cider, all they have to do is touch the tower after this 5 seconds overtime begins, and they can play very comfortably here. They don't have to rush too much. They already took down 3. The tower's by itself. They get that last super jump coming in. They don't have to touch the tower. They just let the overtime run out. And Lemon Cider do take game 2. We're now 1-1 in the series going into game 3. So Lemon Cider able to find some of those answers to these gimmicks from So Much Fun. Just that Clash Blaster comp was not at all as oppressive as we thought it would be going into this match. We thought that it would give a lot of problems to Lemon Cider, but right from the beginning, they were just walking at them. They knew how to fight that weapon. They were not scared of it at all. We see here in the replays, just Caden walking in on that wiper, getting 2 Clash Blasters down. Mayo here on the defense, still like not phased by the ledge camping Clash Blasters. It didn't have as much impact as So Much Fun may have been hoping for. So now the real question is, can So Much Fun have fun while losing?
I definitely believe that So Much Fun can have fun while losing, because if you are going into this tournament, you're bringing these gimmicks, you're running quad slider, you're running triple clash with Wooler on try of all weapons. I think you are definitely having fun regardless of your situation, and just even if they are a little salty here, maybe their fun is being a little bit less fun, they're going to come into Museum Clams with a comp that is surely going to bring them an enjoyable time, regardless of the outcome.
For sure, because they're definitely going to want that, because that's what happens is when you start to lose some matches, I know a lot of people will get into their own head and start to not enjoy it as much, and that's when you start to kind of make worse decisions, make worse plays. So if you're a team like So Much Fun, you're running these gimmicks, you do need to you need to say like, okay, well that gimmick didn't work, that was silly, but let's try something else that's a little bit goofy but still has some merit to it. Going into Museum Clam Blitz, a lot of options here. Those reef sliders you saw from game 1 could be an interesting option. I do believe you can get across from that top spinner onto the plat from a slider. You can go up that ramp on the right side. There's a lot of options there, though. It's kind of hard to tell what they could do. They could literally bring out anything goofy, and there's just nothing we can really do to say what it will be.
Honestly, the most surprising thing they could do is bring out the quote-unquote meta comp, in my opinion. That would truly catch me off of guard at this point because so much fun is brought in, so many different fun comps that they're going to just play around and have fun with. And we do see a fairly stable comp coming out from the side of So Much Fun here.
Though it is the
As we
quad
see-
crab.
Oh, you are correct. That is a quad crab comp. Thank you for noting that. Crab is definitely a weapon, a special I love to see used. So we're going to be seeing a lot of crabs in this match. Maybe some crab sushi will get made if Lemon Cider is able to play their cards right and not let these crabs get as much space. Getting 2 picks already on So Much Fun, only going down with their machine, giving them a lot of space at mid for this V Heavy to just, or this Headed rather, to thrive in.
Now, something curious to note about running 4 crabs on Clam Blitz is if you use the special, you cannot score. So Much Fun are going to need to properly coordinate those crabs when they're on the offensive to make sure that they aren't going to delay themselves. We see here 3 crabs coming out at the same time, which they're in a good position to do that. They're able to clear out the entire map in a very short amount of time, but when they're in here, such as right now, they need to be able to push in and get those clams in without the use of a special, because they're not going to be able to get much with it. Though, getting wiped out, Lemon Cider taking the map.
As we saw, Lemon Cider just really giving up a lot of space to those 3 crabs, meaning that all of their value, yes, was instant, but it just didn't give enough impact. As we saw the 3 crabs coming out, there was just no one there to back up Lucio, I believe, as they went in to start breaking up in the basket. And just made it very easy for Lemon Cider to pick off of each of their members one by one, ending it off by killing Lucio, getting that wipeout, allowing them to get in all the way to their plat and start scoring again.
Lucio rolling down with a double kill, going back into their base, trying to get the triple, activating the crab, but getting shut down by Koki. V Heavy walking in with this power clam, trying to start a push for Lemon Cider. Here comes the bubble, and they do get the clam in now. Rotating back for clams. They do need their teammates to stay up and keep a position so they can run these in and keep this basket open. And they do, but with no other clams left, 1 member down, this may be the end of that push for Lemon Cider. Though the hammer coming out does get picked off. So Much Fun looking to take back their half of the map here. We are nearing the halfway mark through this game. Lemon Cider in the lead, but 2 power clams will take the lead for So Much Fun.
So Much Fun really just struggling to try and get their way back into mid, get their way back into this game here. After a strong push coming from Lemon Cider, where these coordinated specials, and even this defense we see right here, even with the crab up, the ball is missed, meaning that it's just barely enough for them to get the lead, unable to get that second ball and not giving them with Lucio just barely missing it, not able to get it in. As we see jump after jump, they are just camping and not letting any progress be made. So Much Fun, able to just barely edge out a lead here for the last 2 minutes of this game. With as many crabs as they have, it might be in their favor to play more defensively and not get too aggressive here and just cycle these crabs one after the other to really stop any pushes from getting made. As we see Lucio going in, able to pick off the Headed and slow down their push, but not slow it down long enough. As
So much
Lemon Cider takes that lead here.
So Much Fun did get the lead in their push, but again, not as much value as they wanted with that series of unfortunate events surrounding that 1 power clam. It wouldn't have mattered technically because Lemon Cider now going for the KO. It didn't matter how many points So Much Fun got because Lemon Cider are showing that they're going to win this set, and there's the last 2 clams they needed. Getting the KO, they are taking the set in a reverse sweep 2-1 over So Much Fun.
Incredible showing from Lemon Cider, able to look at these more gimmicky comps, finding the exact issue and how to break them open, using all of their downsides, their heavy flaws, to the biggest of advantages they possibly have, giving So Much Fun not only a struggle, but an incredible uphill battle that they had to play.
Now, Lemon Cider definitely feeling good after that set because I alluded to this earlier about how not having a good time can kind of affect your mental game and make you play sloppier. And sometimes losing to these gimmick comps can be a huge detriment to your team, because it's that idea of, oh, we were playing what we do best and they were goofing around and we lost, so clearly we're worse. So getting this win does have a lot of merit for Lemon Cider going into their next sets, because they don't have that hit to their mental game. So very important win for Lemon Cider to continue on in the group stage for Prism Break number 10. So much fun. I'm sure they're not going to be too bummed about it. They seem like the kind of group that are going to keep their chin up and keep at it here. Again, they were not pushovers at all. With these gimmick comps, with these off-meta picks, they were still giving Lemon Cider a really hard time in these matches.
And speaking from experience, I do in fact actually recognize one of the members of So Much Fun, that being Super Toad. From my experiences with him, he is not the kind of guy to beat himself up, and I'm sure the people that they're willing to surround themselves with are not going to do the same either. So,
with that match being finished, we are going into round 4 of group stage. I do believe that group will be starting very, very soon, as the other matches seem to be finishing up here. Now, I'm kind of curious to see who we're going to be seeing next year. I'm looking at this bracket here. I'm trying to see what kind of teams we haven't seen here today. Now, a couple teams that I do recognize, some that I don't. And I don't know, ideas. Do you see any teams here that we haven't seen yet tonight that you're kind of looking forward to seeing, maybe in the next group stage match, maybe in the bracket later tonight?
So, there are, in fact, there's one team that I have been keeping my eye on a little bit, and that would be Retro Records, a team that I have seen play Prism Break fairly consistently and continuously have these very good showings. So far, they have gone 3-0 in their groups. So I have been keeping my eye on them personally, but I would love to know if there's anybody that you have been keeping, because that is who I would say is my favorite to win this event.
Currently, the team that I was hoping to watch tonight, though I'm not sure if they're my favorite to win the event, but Excalibur, a team that was on most people's number 1 spot for low ink this past month, and they actually got banned the day before the tournament, so they did not play. So that was the team I was looking forward to being able to see their gameplay if everyone put so much faith in them, though again, being banned from the tournament, not being able to play in it because they were deemed too good. So they haven't, it seems like they've been making a fairly decent run today. So we are going into the next round soon. I do believe the bracket has started. We'll be getting into our next match very, very soon, and we'll get to see who we get to play. But that's one of those nice things about these open level tournaments, is that you're going to see a large variety of teams just looking at these brackets. We're seeing a lot of those very popular low level teams. We're seeing some of those up and coming teams, some of those higher level teams. And here we go. Our next match is ready for us. Wawa Station versus Retro Records. You got your wish, ideas, because we will be seeing Retro Records playing.
Yes, I would love to give a thank you to whoever's decided to let us watch this set, because it is always a joy to see these teams play. And I'm very interested to see what Wawa Station brings. I do recognize this name, but I'm not sure if this is the same Gabe, of course. But from the looks of it, this is a very strong pickup here with a lot of results on each of these players' names. So it is going to be a battle to see what they can do against Retro Records, who, as I did note earlier, is a team I believe has the ability to win the event, just due to the amount of gameplay I've seen from them in the past and the skill they've brought to the table.
Now, Wawa Station as well, they will not be any pushovers. They are a higher seeded team than Retro Records going to this match. I am unfamiliar with their roster. I do believe they are a pickup. Now, I'm seeing a disparity between their roster on Sendao versus on the stream, so I'm not quite sure which players will be playing, though. On their Sendao roster, they do have Corian, a player who is very strong on the Stamper, on the Squeezer, and on the Rapid Blaster. So if that is the caliber of player that we're looking to see, I know that they will be a very, very heavy hitter going into this match.
Something I think is going to be very exciting about this match is Both of these teams, in fact, are 3-0 in their set, so this is going to be the deciding factor for who gets to finish groups without dropping a single set so far. So that is going to be, especially with having Wawa having these like more higher level players, as you mentioned. And I want to say you brought up Korean as well, just a very strong player that you can speak for, is going to be quite exhilarating to watch this set play out, especially getting into Umami Zones, a map mode that I think you can truly see a lot about players on.
Yeah, that Umami Zones being a unique map from most zones maps, as it does have that double, the two split zones, it can make it very easy to hold out a neutral position and give your team time and space, because you can prevent the counter from going down. You can prevent the penalty from being applied, and just it gives a lot of space. And it makes an interesting dynamic because you have to cause your team to do a split push where you're forcing some players to go left, some to go right. And with both these comps coming out, very different play styles. We're seeing Retro Records bringing in a junior and a dynamo, so a lot of paint coming in, a lot of support for the team. Whereas Wawa Station, very aggressive comp.
Yes, as you mentioned, these disparities between these two teams are going to be quite the joy to see which one works out. With Wawa Station able to get this early on lead, pushing back Retro Records, forcing them to pop cooler a little bit earlier and keep them on their toes in defensive, able to pick off the cooler, but in turn getting picked off themselves. For keeping Retro Records just in this back end, taking a lot of space up here, getting very aggressive with these aggressive weapons you mentioned. Able to pop these really aggressive specials, getting these strikes out, getting this zip out, and just keeping them on their toes ever since this match has started. Retro Records has not had a second to rest at all.
And with not even a minute into the game, 35 ticks to Wawa Station takes us. Retro Records needs a way in. They do have that ink brush and that dually that can cause some damage. We need to see them kind of getting behind, and there is a DC on the side of Retro Records that might just be the nail in the coffin for them, as Wawa Station are counting down this game. Yeah, the crab just rolling around, buying time and preventing those jumps coming in, losing control. They just need to cap if they want to win this game, and there is the wipeout, the KO, and Wawa is going to take this game over Retro Records.
Really a well-played game by both teams. We did see an amazing offense come out on the side of Wawa Station here, really showing us that these strong players can work together and just like that, snap together. And they are putting on display why they have only dropped one game this entire tournament so far. And it looks to me like they want to keep up that one game streak they have going into it. Unfortunate as it was with Retro Records having that DC, it really did, as you said, put the nail in the coffin for this game.
And it's unfortunate because Retro Records did have a comp that had merit to it. They have that ink brush able to get in and cause some damage and distractions. They had the splat dualies with the crab to brute force and cause some damage and be able to just hold a strong front. And they had the Dynamo and the Junior for that support, for that paint, and for that coverage. But they weren't able to utilize the strengths of their weapons because Wawa Station just completely dominant in that pressure applied from that aggressive comp with those weapons, with those specials coming out and just holding out the map. And even though Retro Records did have a disconnect, I don't think having that fourth player would have changed the outcome there. I think Wawa Station were in so much control that they were going to continue to get that knockout anyway.
We really did see Wawa Station just bring out a very aggressive comp. They really got into the game. They said the moment that it said go, they went. They didn't slow down, not for a second, and just kept up that aggression, bringing out the exact same comp again. They were quick to just hit A. Both teams deciding to keep on the same comp, going into Rainmaker on Manta here. I'm very surprised to see if we will see Retro Records be able to keep up with the pace of the game that Wawa Station wants to play at. Able to get the pop early on and force Retro Records onto the more defensive side here. Really going to skirmish around and see these specials come out early, try and find a pick anywhere to give that one team the edge, with Cooler going out for Wawa Station, only furthering how aggressive they plan on playing. Getting 2 picks on both sides just like that, keeping the game at an even pace here. Retro Records able to find one more pick than the other and get the RM and start their push up here. Going for a check.
Retro Records do get that checkpoint, playing a lot more confidently. They're walking into these fights, showing that they know what they're doing, getting one after another on this from Wawa Station, and now dropping down that Rainmaker down to 19 in the first minute. This is the opposite of what we saw in Game 1. Retro Records having a very strong opening, going for another grab. Slimester unfortunately unable to grab it and get value out of that. Retro Records now, they need to kind of hold this space, but regroup. They don't need to overcommit to this. They already got what they wanted out of this push. And there it is, the 3 members down, the delayed wipe onto Wawa Station. Retro Records, they're grabbing the Rainmaker after that reset, and they're going for round 2.
And just like that, the strikes come out, delaying this push even further. The zip is out. Everybody is on top of this Rainmaker, trying to get them out of here as fast as possible, hold them off for as long as possible. And just like that, that distraction was good enough for Karma to go in there and clean up everybody on the side of Retro Records, trading out with the RM, putting them back at the game speed, giving them a lot more control over the map. They just need to get the zone, paint back at mid to really have full control over what's going to happen next year. With Retro Records just hyper aggressive, coming out and really giving them not only a strong lead, but a lead that you can say is so game defining that you don't have to push in anymore to play off of it. But as we do see here, Wawa Station able to push in, grab the Rainmaker, but just not able to really find anywhere to get this check. Even with these picks happening, there's just too much pressure from Retro Records. Having Crab, having a Ink Brush online is just too much for them to handle right now.
Wawa Station does get the checkpoint despite all of that. Now, you did allude to Retro Records. They do have a position where they can just stall for the next 2 minutes and 22 seconds. But with that checkpoint gone, it's a bit less comfortable because one wipeout is all it takes for Wawa Station to get that run they need to get past that lead. So Retro Records need to hold a very confident footing here. They need to kind of keep the pressure applied consistently so Wawa Station doesn't have time to breathe, as we saw from their first 2 minutes of the match. Both teams skirmishing middle right now, not trying to overcommit to anything. We're seeing a bit of trades coming out from both sides. The Rainmaker is going to be popped, and Retro Records with that jump in will now be all 4 in mid with the map painted up. Trying to just, again, stall for time, not overcommit, and they need to not make any mistakes here to give Wawa Station an opening.
And speaking of not making mistakes, we do see them make 1 or 2 mistakes there, but able to clean it up very nicely and maintain this stalling and holding the defensive hold they want to play around. Really putting Wawa Station on the back end, not letting them have any room to breathe as they just keep on letting them engage with Retro Records, because they know that they do not have to push in, they do not have to engage. They can sit down and do nothing. As long as Wawa Station doesn't do anything, they will win the game, and that is exactly what their win condition looks like they're going to be playing for here. With both teams just really struggling to get anything, Retro Records deciding to grab the Rainmaker and push it in just a little bit, putting a lot more pressure on Wawa Station here, not getting it even past the check, but just enough that they have to regroup and they have to find more time, more downtime. And with only 40 seconds on the clock, time is not something that Wawa Station necessarily has here. Getting a triple into the wipe. Retro Records able to just do whatever they want to.
The huge flank coming in from Slimester on that Ink Brush, causing enough damage and just the perfect pincer to get that wipe on Wawa Station. 15 seconds left, Rainmaker reset. Wawa Station has to get past this line that Retro Records has set for them in due time. 5 seconds left. They do actually pop their next Rainmaker, but if they grab it, they will get killed immediately. And there's the wipeout, there's the grab, and Retro Record are going to tie this set 1-1.
Just like that, Retro Record just showed out that they can too bring out that hyper aggressive in a map like Rainmaker. I think it really, or a mode like Rainmaker rather, it really does lean to being aggressive in the start because we didn't see Retro Records make any more insane risks. They didn't have to do anything crazy. They just opened up, had a really good opening, and just played off of the fact alone that they have way better defense than they do offense. Something that I do believe you mentioned earlier. Having a good defense is much better than having a good offense because you only need to find that one crack in the defense to get an insane lead, as we saw in this game here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you always want to have a good offense, obviously, but it is important to have a strong defense because you can get a strong push, but if your defense isn't good, you get wiped. As I mentioned earlier in this match, once Wawa Station broke that checkpoint, their win condition was to get a strong wipe where they're in possession of the Rainmaker or the Rainmaker is in a good position because Retro Records, they got to 19 by dropping down into that pit by the goal. The Wawa Station, they just have to match that. They have to drop down that and just get that one extra point. So it is a very strong lead by Retro Records, but it was fairly feeble because they could lose it in the blink of an eye. So that defense had to be perfect, and we showed that it was perfect enough to get them that win. And now we're going to our third match, Inkblot Art Academy Clan Blitz.
I think this is going to be very interesting to see because Inkblot Clams always feels like one of the more maps that feels kind of the way it shifts from being defensive and offensive, especially with how Clams in and of itself can be so fast paced, is very interesting to see on a map like this where it's not necessarily as fast as other Clams maps. And getting that one wipe can just change a push entirely from losing down 20 or 40 points to just instantly stopping it completely or forcing them out into a 60 or 80 point lead, even giving you the opportunity to just win outright from one push.
Now, you did mention this is definitely one of the slower Clams maps in being able to get that push in because it's a very awkward one to walk in, but the comp that Wawa Station is bringing, they most likely are going to want to try to use that rail on the left side from their view and get up in behind the basket and try to get some clams up there. So Retro Records going to need to hold out a strong defense, or they can hold out a strong offense and get a wipe in the first 30 seconds of the match, walking in a power clam. Retro Records have came to play. They already get that push up, defying the things that both of us brought up already. Getting another clam in, though dying for it, may not have been the best decision, as now they do get delayed wipe. Wawa Station taking full map control, and they're going to look to start getting some clam economy here.
And as Wawa Station builds up this clam economy, something important to note is that this is one of the few clams maps that you kind of have somewhat of a flank on with that left side, especially as you mentioned, playing around the rail, having a crab that Wawa Station is bringing in, and Retro Records with this. We saw how aggressive and how much space just instantly gets held as Retro Records goes back in after a very strong defense, stopping Wawa Station from getting any points on the board, as we see them take it all the way down to 44 before Wawa Station finds the wipeout they need. But this is one of those moments where, just because of how this game mode works, Wawa Station is already putting Retro Records on a very aggressive point with no specials on board. It can be very dangerous.
Retro Records committing to both of those pushes, getting wiped in each one, but Wawa Station not able to get as much control as they're looking for from those wipes, and not able to get in faster than Retro Records can return. Now getting pushed out, the map is kind of being in favor of Retro Records, actually pushing out Wawa Station. That bubble coming in to prevent that crab from getting any picks. That bubble has been a very important special this match so far in those pushes and in the defense. Both teams losing members left and right here. A skirmish going full force. A lot of clams being dropped on the right side for Wawa Station. The crab coming in. Wawa Station getting a sneaky push in on that left side. The ball getting defeated before they can score. Retro Records having that defense and that coverage from their comp in preventing any points from getting scored on the side of Wawa Station.
Retro Records is just really able to pull out that defense right there and keep Wawa Station back even with that sneaky jump they tried to pull off, just able to find the pick right there before they could score was something that Retro Records is really going to be playing off of, because of the clam economy Wawa Station had at that time. It could have been detrimental for Wawa Station to really get it open in that moment. But with how much space that we do see Retro Records controlling up here, it is a struggle. Even with the Booyah coming out from Wawa Station, they are just barely able to get it open, but nobody is there to really capitalize off of the fact, even with Retro Records going down, able to just use that to their advantage, getting a free power clam off of it that they can use for a further push if they decide to elect for that.
And with how short their penalty is, only 22 points, that power clam can do them wonders, getting to that penalty fairly quickly when they break. Now, Wawa Station need to hold the map control. They haven't been able to control the map very well this match, and with only a minute and 20 seconds left, they need to generate more consistent opportunities here to break in. They're going to need to get a lot of points, preferably in one push, to do it cleanly. And Retro Records, they're definitely fully aware of this. They need to just hold space. They need to keep painting the map. That Junior and the Dynamo going to give out a lot of coverage for their teammates. The Crab going to be able to hold out most of Wawa Station fairly consistently. And that Brush is going to make sure that the team cannot sit comfortably, because they always need to be checking their flanks. They need to be checking to find out where that Brush is. And there, the basket breaks. The clams are flying in. 3 members down of Retro Records, again, committing to these pushes. They don't like to have that player anchor. Once again, a delayed wipe. But the first 3 members back already on their plat. 30 seconds to go. Wawa Station needs something.
Wawa Station getting their cooler up. They're just going to be playing from it. They want to get some space here. They're trying to control something. They do not have an in yet, and they're trying to find that in. The Crab coming out, giving them a lot more space to push in from, forcing that Dynamo to back up with the Booyah coming out to counter this ball here, and getting a pick on Retro Records, allowing them to break it open, but still needing a lot of clams. But they do have a lot of clams, getting one after the other. We can just hear them going in one after the other. But will it be enough? With only 6 clams online, they're going to have to keep on cycling the points left and right, with Retro Records able to maintain this defense long enough to keep their barrier and secure out the win.
Unfortunately for Wawa Station, you saw off the side of the camera, they had another power clam, but it got dropped as the player holding it was defeated, and they lost it. That would have been enough clams to take the lead, but Retro Records holding out the space and not giving Wawa Station the chance to get those clams in, taking the set 2-1, and I believe taking that in a reverse sweep after losing game 1. So very, very strong performance from Retro Records. That first game looked like this may have been a set heavily in favor of Wawa Station, but they kept their cool. They held up their heads high, and they were able to take those last 2 games very, very convincingly.
And that is exactly why I personally had so much to say about Retro Records there, just because of what I've seen from them before and what they have brought to the table today. Wawa Station not even backing down, really showing up in keeping me at first. Honestly, I was in the belief that Wawa Station was a sleeper pickup that was going to absolutely destroy, but Retro Records able to maintain, regroup, and just keep their cool throughout the rest of the set, as we saw both teams play incredibly well, keeping each other just on that back end, really not letting anybody get a definite lead that you could say is truly game defining.
And we see in these replays just the pressure from Retro Records with that Crab, with that Dynamo, the Junior, and the Brush, just constant paint, constant pressure, just right in the face of Wawa Station. There's no external strategies or who's it, what's it, just straight pressure and denial in the face of Wawa Station. So very good showing for both teams. Again, we have to remember that first game, Wawa Station took it very, very convincingly with an immediate KO. Just both of these teams playing at their finest in this last set of groups for Prism Break 10. We are now going to be dividing these teams up into brackets. We'll be coming back with another set of commentators for the top bracket of these players. So that is all from me and Ideas tonight. So before we bring you over to our next group of commentators, ideas, where can the viewers find you on the internet?
If anybody would love to find me, you can look up Out of Ideas EXE anywhere you want to go. I will probably be there. I have Twitter and Blue Sky, of course. That is a great place to find me. But Hammy, I would love to know, where can I find you at?
You can find me on most platforms such as YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, which I don't use much anymore, at Hammy and the Wall. You can also find me on Discord at HITW and on Blue Sky, which I'm very, very, very active on now, at hitw.inc. And yeah, that is it from both of us tonight. We will be coming back very, very soon with, I believe, Rocket and Topic as our next commentators. Thank you, Ideas, for commentating with me. It's been a blast. Thank you, Jorian, for streaming, as always. And thank you to all the viewers for watching. We'll be back with Prism Break 10 brackets very, very soon.
Well, everyone, welcome back to Prison Break. We got the diamond brackets. You know it's going down. It's round number 1. I am Topic. I am joined by Rocket. And for our first match, we have Ink Bashers versus Puma Hogs.
Yeah, our 2 and 3 seeds going right at it here. Really dominant in both of their tournament runs so far here. If we take a look, both winning 3 out of their 4 sets, so pretty interesting to see them face off here. And I'm really interested to see how this is going to turn out, because this is going to really shape the brackets, and the quarterfinals obviously really bring out the true contenders. As we look at our first map, which will be Mako Mart Zones, which I always love as a really just setter. It sounds weird, but like it really lets you see what these teams like to play like, and really sets the pace for it. Obviously, we are only in best of 3. Semifinals and finals will be where we go to best of 5, but I think it's a great starter map to start. What do you think, Topic?
I mean, yeah, I agree. You know how you play Smash Bros, right?
Mhm.
And you know, like, Smash tourneys, and how they have like starter maps like PS2, Battlefield, Final Destination. And I relate this to Mako, because Mako is not basic, but it's pretty even, I would say. You do have a lot of flank. You do have those 2 really large flank routes. You can go around to the enemy plat. You have the snipe area, which is really good for chargers, really good for splatlings, just really good for any weapons that can just excel at longer ranges.
Yeah, 100%, but enough talking. We are moving straight into things. Game number 1. Let's see what these 2 teams bring out. We're seeing Dapple Doolies and a Squeezer from Kabi, which I like to see here on the other side. A pretty standard comp coming from Puma's Hogs, but Squeezer is a weapon that you find kind of infrequently now when you see in terms of shooters. And very interesting, actually, Ink Bash is going a pretty up front and basically all shooters minus the Doolies comp here.
I mean, duelies are basically 2 shooters, so I don't know if I'd really count that. But on the side of Puma's Hogs, they have a really aggressive comp. They have Brush, they have Stamper, which are gonna go 3 down. And they have the T-Tech trying to force fights. But so far, Ink Bashers, with a couple specials being popped, are gonna get a really nice hold. Woomy on the flank there. Forty is gonna go down to the Zipcaster, and now Ink Bashers in a kind of a tough position. But yeah, I want to go back and talk about the Squeezer. I think ever since the nerfs, Squeezer definitely has been a lot less prevalent, but it's still a very, very strong main weapon.
I mean, when you pair a shooter with a wall, of course it's going to be powerful. As we see, actually, Puma's Hogs go 3 players down and Ink Bashers continue to lay on the pressure here, but just with the amount of versatility and especially having the Bazooka, Squeezer has always been at least in the mix in terms of shooter weapons, because obviously some people just pick weapons for their specials, and we see that pretty prevalently, especially with the pick of the dualies for that crab, which we see here causing so much damage. Lumi managing to find one with it, and Ink Bashers are continuing to control the zone here, nearly down to the 40-point mark, and will continue to move through it, but Puma's Hogs are not giving up without a fight here, because they need to really stop this snowball from rolling, because so far Ink Bashers have been really effective in winning these close fights and just continuing to keep Puma's Hogs out of the mid.
Yeah, and like you were saying about those close fights, that's just kind of what their comp excels at. You have 52, which kills really quickly. You have dualies that can kill really quickly. You just have these weapons that can excel in these close range fights. And just now, it took Puma's Hogs up till Ink Bashers got to 22 to take control, and now they may have their own opportunity to really get a good hold of their own. But I want to talk about Ink Bashers for a little bit. They did a really good job during their push of just countering specials, because it took Puma's Hogs so much longer than it really should have for them to get to zone. And so far, as Puma's Hogs is showing right now, they're really good at combating this, as they're going to get another 2 down on Ink Bashers, and the momentum's shifting.
Yeah, we see here the Stamper is already down, but actually back up. Pencil will find 1 onto Ink Bashers, and that range could really provide the value to really take care of that very short range fighty comp that Ink Bashers is running, and actually they will manage to take the lead. However, that lead will be immediately contested by Ink Bashers, because you saw there all 4 members of Ink Bashers really just centered themselves on that zone and were able to quickly take care of the members of Puma Hogs. Now, off of that cooler being popped in favor of Ink Bashers here, we could potentially see another roll. We see Kabi proving to us why Squeezer should probably be played more, as they find 2 on that. A wonderful 2 here, but we see Drago's Hogs just looming, just waiting for an opportunity to strike. We'll find 1, we'll try to find another, but will they be able to get the contest off of this before Puma's Hogs are able to flip the zone? They will eventually and keep the lead, but a very slim lead for sure.
You know, I'm surprised they got the zone there, but I really shouldn't be, as Puma's Hogs with a very quick wipeout, a cooler at the ready. They have a Zipcaster, they're gonna have a whale soon, so we could see a lot more going down. Never mind, 2 down.
Yeah, 2 down, but Puma's Hogs still continuing to try to stay in this as 3 members of Ink Bashers fall. This is huge for Puma's Hogs, who can really just keep control of this. Remember, Ink Bashers really were in the driver's seat from start to around the 3-point mark, but now Puma's Hogs with a wonderful, valiant effort to really keep things close here. As we move to crunch time, with under a minute left, specials are available for Puma Hog. You see the Killer Whale, you see Keely, the Tri-Strikes here. This could really provide a way in for Puma Hogs.
I mean, it really can, but the question is, can they capitalize on this? They're using a lot of their specials. They used the whale, they used the strikes, they used the Zipcaster, but they didn't really get the picks that they needed. So just like that, Ink Bashers will eat through their penalty, will take the lead, and with only 30 seconds left, all but 1 member is left for Puma's Hogs. They are gonna go down on that wipeout, and Ink Bashers will take game number 1. Possibly a lot more tense than they would have liked, because during that first minute and a half, Ink Bashers was looking clean. They got to 30 in their first try.
Yeah, I mean, they really just needed to find that opening in order to really make their weapon shine, and we mentioned it. Really, they really benefited on these closer range engagements where they could really use their fighting weapons to the fullest. Really, where Ink Bashers started to struggle a little bit was when Puma Hogs got onto the zone and they were able to use the power of the pencil to really play keep away and to really prevent any members of Ink Bashers from getting in, but eventually, a crack opened in the defense, and the floodgates just let through.
I mean, that's just very unfortunate, because Puma's Hogs, they put up a really, really good fight. It was just at that last engagement, they couldn't get the picks. Yes, they took the space that they needed. They took zone, they took area around the zone a little bit, but they just really couldn't get those picks, because without those picks, that ink just disappears like that. But if you are Puma's Hogs, you know what? This was game 1. You still got a chance. You still have an opportunity to make this comeback as we move on to game number 2, Clan Blitz on Scorchgorge.
Yeah, an opportunity presents itself, but no more mistakes can be had here, and a very interesting map awaits us here. Really, I think to be really the classic Clan Blitz map, in my opinion, because of how just really the different levels of elevation you can play. Obviously, mid is basically a giant fight for the hill, the mid there in control of that, but besides that, really, just the way that teams play this in terms of pace of how Clan Blitz works, really, of the back and forward, how quickly you can be counterattacked if you're not able to provide a good attack to begin with. But let's see what these teams bring. We're seeing the same comp coming out from Ink Bashers. On the other side, same thing. We're running with the same weapons here, so really, Puma's Hogs just want to stick with what they know, what they got, and just hope that previous game was a fluke.
I mean, yeah, in this game, if you're Ink Bashers, or no, if you're Puma's Hogs, what you really want to do is use the pencil to its fullest. Though Woomy with an immediate kill and an immediate flank. They're trying to get Puma's Hogs off their rocker, and so far it is gonna work. Woomy is still in the back here in a 3v1, managing to stay alive, popping a crab, and just complete chaos in Puma's Hogs' backyard. Thankfully, they're quickly able to recover because Ink Bashers did not have enough clams to get a score. So even though Ink Bashers looked super strong early on, Puma's Hogs with a really nice response, not allowing any points to be scored.
Yeah, it looked like a really good pincer maneuver from Ink Bashers. You saw Woomy going in with the crab, but actually Puma's Hogs will try to make a race for the goal, but a beautiful Zuka and beautiful picks from the members of Ink Bashers touch down that push, and it leads to a wipeout. Now, Ink Bashers has the potential to really go for a push here. This is just going back and forth. Initially, Puma's Hogs had a really good offense there, just with 17 clams at the ready, but now, just like that, Ink Bashers are now able to open the floodgates, able to get their goal in, and now the clams are just flooding in, Topic.
Yeah, they managed to get under 60, which is really important for that first push. And Puma's Hogs, thankfully, managed to stop the bleeding. They managed to, you know, put a little band-aid on it and not allow any more to happen. But now they have a lot of mid in their favor. They can really use this advantage and their comp, because their comp is very fast-paced. You have the Zipcaster, you have the Brush, you have the T-Tech, which is very fast weapons. The only weapon that kind of can not really slow you down, but it's not gonna be as aggressive as the pencil. But even then, they can make up for that, as that's a quick to down on Ink Basher's side. We'll be going for a pick. It's not gonna work. They're gonna go down. That's gonna be another 3 down for Ink Bashers. Puma Hogs has the clams to score. They get it. They have 2 more. 1. They get the lead down to 56, I believe, with Puma having 1 more to spare.
Yeah, and the Pity Clam is available. If that player is able to jump in, they could really open up the floodgates. And there it is right there. Will it be get in time? No, it will not reach the goal in time. There it rests under the goal, unable to score, and will go away. Puma's Hogs quickly wiped out by Ink Bashers. And now an opportunity for Ink Bashers to take that lead right back out of the hands of Puma Hogs. And just like that, Ink Bashers back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, that's super unfortunate. That power tank could have changed everything, as so far Ink Bashers is laying it on pretty heavy right now, getting it down to 38. Woomy jumping in, trying to get some space for the clam. They're gonna get the Pity Clam down to 12-9. Only 3 more clams. That'll be a quick win for Ink Bashers, though. Puma's Hogs not letting this go without a fight. Taro there trying to sneak in. It's not quite gonna work, and just like that, the momentum has shifted, and now Puma's Hogs, just like game 1, are on their back foot with very little mistakes that can be made at this point.
Yeah, but things could change fast here. Under 2 minutes left in this. T-Tech has their Tri-Strikes available to really open things up, but Kabi has that Zuka as well. Puma will find 1 with that, and trying to fight Kabi with the Zuka. Kabi, the ball carrier, will fall for members of Puma Hogs. Puma just continuing to go in with the Zipcast, and we'll find 1, but we'll quickly get traded out. A bomb kill right there will open up Puma's Hogs offense a little bit, with just Boomy being the last player standing for Ink Bashers to try to contest this as they try to keep Puma's Hogs out of this, but it will not be as such, as the barrier will be broken, but not a lot of follow-up to be had as Ink Bashers are continuing to defend their goals.
Yeah, I mean, Ink Bashers with a really good defense, and if you're Puma's Hogs, I start to question, was that really worth it? Because now you basically just gave Ink Bashers a free Pity Clam. You scored the power, and that's it. And now you are backed up a little bit. You gave Ink Bashers more resources, and now you have under a minute left. You need a really big power. You need a really big push, basically like 2 powers and more clamps to really get something going. Though unfortunately for Puma's Hogs, they're gonna go 3 down, and Ink Bashers has been looking super strong. And Puma's Hogs at this point, desperation has started setting in because this could be the tourney right here.
Yeah, especially since Draco's Hog is just stuck on an island with Ink Bashers all around them. They will jump out to rally with their team. 30 seconds left. You kind of get to think that this is the opportunity that needs to happen. This is where a push needs to start to develop. But 3 players are down. It is just Draco Hog left to their own devices. 20 seconds left and only 1 chance left in overtime, you would assume. But you see here, Boomy has the crab available. Will pop it here to try to defend this hill with their life. 10 seconds left. This crab just buying time for Ink Bashers to build up their own ball here to really try to just end things with a very commanding win.
I mean, there's the strike shot for Puma's Hogs. Only 1 left. Feral Hog's gonna be last, trying to defend themselves, but that's not gonna be enough. And Ink Bashers will take game number 2 and take the set, moving on to quarters finals. And if you're Ink Bashers, you're feeling pretty strong right now because that was a pretty dominant game number 2, all things considered, because yes, Puma's Hogs did get 1 scoring, but you responded quickly, and then you let the dam fall at that point, just kept on scoring, getting it all the way to 9. So I feel pretty good if I were them.
You saw that very clutch Shizuka shot from Kabi here early in the 4-minute mark, which allowed Ink Bashers to really get their first push and really set the pace for how this map was played out. Typically on Clan Blitz, it's kind of a more my turn, your turn type of thing, but really Ink Bashers played to their own tempo. They were able to get strong attacks in and really limit Puma's Hogs where they can, because at this level, you can only really limit sometimes how much an opponent will score, but that's sometimes all you need to really take the game and the set now as they move on to semis.
Yep, pretty good set from Ink Bashers. Puma's Hogs, you put up a good fight, though it wasn't quite enough. And with that, that'll be the end of our quarterfinals. Though stay right there because in a little bit we'll have semifinals coming up. So grab some popcorn, grab your beverage of choice, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Prism Break number 10. We are now in semifinals, which now means we are in longer sets here. We are in best of 5, and our matchup here is quite an interesting one indeed. We have Retro Records versus Wavebreaker, and the first map they're going to be on is Splat Zones. Umami, the voice you hear right now, is Rockets. That is me. Hello, and joined by Topic, of course. And Topic, what do you really think about Umami Ruins as a starter map, especially on zones here with having those 2 zones?
You know what? I like Tetris. I like Tetris. It's the Z-shaped piece, but really I think it's pretty good. Personally, you do really have to watch the top mid, because again, top mid gives you access to both zones. It gives you basically a direct line of sight to the enemy silo. It just the mid block, whatever they call it, I forgot what the call outs for it. Like the mid block, I think that's the most important. So I think what we'll see for both teams is them trying to like maneuver around it. We might see an early assault of the mid block. We might see a more like delayed response. So I just think this map allows for a lot of like unique movement, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. That mid not only provides an advantage in terms of elevation, but it also just provides a sightline advantage as well, just being able to contest the opponent's backline, who typically post themselves on the little tower there. But it really allows some more maybe medium range weapons, such as I have Squeezer on the mind because of what happened last game, but like not even that, maybe even a slightly longer range like shot or something. But
Like Pro.
let's see. Yeah, kind of like that, but let's see if a pro is used, because you typically don't see it often, but we also don't see often at all is a Dynamo Roller here, run as the cooler option. A very, very interesting choice indeed, especially with that Junior as well, just providing the shielding ability and the brush as well. That is going to be a very intriguing lineup to see, and how Retro Records play is pretty indicative to how their lineup is run.
I mean, but so far, just a lot of fighting. And on the side of Wavebreaker, actually, they have no cooler. They are going all out. They have a brush, Tetris, and the SD weapon, as you see right there, going in with the Reef side is going to go down, unfortunately. But Wavebreaker, their comp, actually, both of these team comp, they really want to fight a lot, which is weird, because like Wavebreaker's comp is more of a, I will run at you, deal with it type of comp, and then Retro Records is more of, we will paint the ground and force you to fight me type of comp.
Yeah, when the longest range weapon theoretically in this game is that blaster, we actually see the Wavebreaker already getting a wipeout here, continuing their roll with 3 players down for Retro Records, and continuing that we're seeing the power of that 1-2 punch you have, really with that Ink Brush getting in your face and that Dynamo Roller, which you have to respect here. But Crab is available for Retro Records. That Dynamo Keeley actually goes down, and this Crab could provide a huge opening for Retro Records to try to at least contest this, and contest the zone they must, as now Wavebreaker's down to the 30-point mark and counting.
Yeah, and Wavebreaker is still looking pretty strong, not giving Retro Records any space to work with. They're trying to force their way in. Ren there on the right side is going to go down. Slime there with the brush is going to be forced away, popping the whale, trying to get something going. It's not going to work. Wavebreaker, despite them being outpainted, even though, because Retro Records just have a Junior and a Dynamo, they're playing super, super well, getting it down to 8, I think. Nintendo, we love Nintendo servers, as unfortunate.
Yes. If the match was assumedly going how it was, I'm assuming Wavebreaker would take that one, but I think what really interested me was, I think I overlooked a little aspect of that. I think the S-Blaster versus Dynamo interaction really kind of determined that match, because I know this as playing a Blaster player. When you see those Dynamo Rollers, you really want to play at a pokey range, but especially with the range that the S-Blast can provide, and that insta-kill ability from such a longer range that you typically wouldn't see from like a custom blaster or a regular blaster or like a lunar blaster even. I think that really was what limited that Dynamo Roller's ability, which is what Retro Records was really trying to emphasize there.
Well, see, I'm not particularly a blaster player. The only blaster I will play consistently is the range blaster. So whenever I think of the blaster Dynamo dynamic, I think, okay, if I can get on the outskirts of my range and like I said, like a pokey type of the pokey type of range, that's kind of like your ideal range. But at the same time, whenever I think of Blaster versus Dynamo, I think of, hey, I need that one shot, because if I see the Dynamo swinging in my face and I don't get that kill, you know what? Just I'll see you in the next life, because when like Blaster typically is like a very high risk, high reward weapon. So I think just by missing a single shot or two, that kind of like just dooms you.
Yeah, it's also pretty interesting to see that both teams are running very, very, very similar comps, and obviously we already mentioned it. The really only difference there is having a Blaster compared to that Dynamo Roller. Also Keeley as well, the different types of dualies. You see Wavebreaker with the Tetra dualies, with that Reef Slider really being able to contest the zone super well, but Retro Records with a dualies of their own have a special to contest it in a different manner, which is a poke away kind of ability, which you kind of mentioned how both these teams like to play, and it's really evident in their slight alterations of comps between each other, because they both run Ink Brush, they both run Junior, which you don't normally see both teams run, but especially on Umami zones, it provides so much contesting ability in the mid, which we've already mentioned is such a key on that map.
I mean, I think it's just because Junior's really good on zones. You need a paint bot, got it. You need bombs, you got it. You need protection, you got it. So I think it could really be described to any zones map, in my opinion, as we're gonna see possibly later on with Hagglefish. I think just Junior in general is just a very good weapon. I think nowadays we are seeing it a lot more, because I think Bubble got buffed, so it takes less damage from Zuka and another special. I forgot which one it is. Was it Crab or Strikes? I don't remember. Do you know?
Leave it Strikes.
Yeah. So since Junior is the Bubble, it does take a lot less damage from those types from those specials. It kind of allows these more defensive comps to basically function. It allows them to just get the space that they need, because I think we both admit Splatoon 3 has been very rushdown heavy, very in your face. So I think having at least some good defensive options is pretty good.
Yeah, and I wouldn't imagine that change at all, especially when you see the rest of our series we have here, especially on, you say, on our next map, Museum del Alfonsino, but also on Inkblot Art Academy, because always having a bubble brush or a bubble plus closer range weapon is always key on those maps where you need to get into a certain checkpoint. And what's your way to get in? Oh, I don't know, a giant shield with a little death barrier inside, with having that close range weapon, basically a no enter zone. And I think it'd be something we could see run again.
Yeah, well, that's about the future. We're talking about the now, as both teams are just about getting ready. There it is. Battle time is up. We are going back to game number 1. Hopefully, no DCs, because that'd be very unfortunate. But Retro Records, Wavebreaker, a rematch.
Yeah, and redoing this match, actually, let's see if anything, well, obviously nothing can change because of the DC, but let's see if the map plays out in a similar way as these teams go. And we've already talked plenty of how they play. Let's see if they can really execute to how they like to play. And Keeley, I've already mentioned this. Let's take a look, Keeley, on how this Dynamo really tries to deal with that S-Blast, because it is such, but actually the S-Blast goes down as I say this, so this could really provide an opportunity for Retro Records and the Dynamo to really contest it. We see Troops already managed to find 1, will manage to find 2 as well, and get that cooler out. We see the power of Dynamo here, being able to position itself in such a dangerous spot and being able to basically have free reign over mid there, and that is why you bring the S-Blast there.
Yeah, and what we're seeing from Scribs here is that they're, from last game to this game, they're playing a lot more forward, because I think they realize, hey, we cannot let them come to us. We need to at least put the aggression onto them, because if we don't, then something like this will happen where they will just run straight at it. They will just hold W and hope for the best. And with how their comp works and how aggressive all 4 of them can be at any given time, I would say that they might potentially lose, as Wavebreaker pretty uncontestedly is going to take the lead here.
Yeah, a quick punch back from Wavebreaker, but we're seeing Retro Records get a comeback of their own. The bubble being placed on the right side there will allow them to paint that side of the map, and now the other members of Retro Records will eventually try to contest the zone to force the penalty onto Wavebreakers, but just as quickly as they are taking the zone, they are very quickly getting contested right back by members of Wavebreaker. You see here, Trek on that Junior here just trying to build a bubble to potentially lead into a counterattack of their own, and that will be the case. They will try the right side while the S-Blast will throw the Booyah Bomb left side, and they will almost try to get the zone, and eventually they will.
Yeah, they can get this zone and try to work a little bit farther, and it's gonna work out with another 2 down for Retro Records, 3 down with Scribs going down on the Dynamo. And so far, if you're Retro Records, you're looking pretty strong here. You're keeping Retro Records at a disadvantage. Nice Wavebreaker here to kind of shred the bubble, but you're keeping Retro Records kind of disorganized. You're making sure they can't affect the zone as good as they'd like, because that crab there from Ren didn't really change the dynamic. It was kind of far back. It was kind of not a panic crab, but it was like kind of not in the best spot, meaning that Wavebreaker, even though they lose zone here, could keep their push going for a lot longer than expected.
Yeah, but you saw Scribs at the top of your screen with that Dynamo basically just contesting the entire right zone. A great bomb kill will lead to actually a Wavebreaker wipeout, and now Retro Records have an opportunity to try to take back this lead, and they need to do it in a really well-executed manner, or else we've seen how Wavebreaker have been really effective in taking back the zone in a quick amount of time, but with Crab being popped, they are continually being kept out of this as 2 players are down. Now 3 players, this is just left to the Junior, and we could easily see Retro Records take this lead right back out of the hands of Wavebreaker if Wavebreaker can't get something going here.
I mean, this is what Retro Records comp excels at. It excels at just painting the entire map. I mean, look at this. They have mid completely painted. Before they got pushed out, they had Wavebreaker's base completely painted. Cats there in the middle is gonna get 1, gonna get 2, 3 are gonna go down, actually. So Wavebreaker is just barely gonna hold on, and Retro Records only getting down to 9. So now, if you're Wavebreaker, you want to make sure that never happens again. You want to make sure that Retro Records is as fragmented as possible. You want to make sure that they can't build up all their stuff that they need, and so far that's exactly what they're trying to do. The reef sides are gonna go out, gonna get 1, though unfortunately Wavebreaker's gonna go another 3 down.
Yeah, and continually trying to keep up the pressure. Retro Records are really commandingly in the lead and trying to get out of their penalty points, but with 3 players down, it's just left to that Junior there left. But the jumps are coming in. The jumps could provide at least a little bit of stalling ability to stop the bleeding, as you may think, just to keep Retro Records in this mid-control here as fierce fighting ensues. We see the brush v brush fight going on that bottom zone there. The Wavebreaker brush will ultimately come out on top and could provide a edge here for Wavebreaker to try to get into this, and they need to now in crunch time with 30 seconds left.
I mean, yeah, we have to remember Wavebreaker, they don't have a cooler, so if they take fights, they're gonna have to make sure, oh, that's unfortunate there. They're gonna have to make sure that they win these fights, and so far it is working with, that's another 3 down for Retro Records. And in the last 15 seconds, that's not what you want to see. But thankfully, the Dynamo Scribs did manage to jump out, so they did save the cooler. So now, if you're Retro Records, this is your last opportunity. Wavebreaker, they're gonna break through their penalty points. Here we go. Overtime is starting. The whale is gonna come out. The crab's gonna come out as well.
Yeah, and this is crunch time now. Retro Records needs to paint the zone. They will get 1, then the bubble going out as well. And keenly, they will get the other one as well with that brush. Just being able to contest it so well and being able to paint it in just a flash. Just like that. They will take game number 1, and quite a commanding one for sure. But certainly looked very close at the end there, Topic, as that was anybody's game up until that final point, because if one team fight went the other way, we could be talking about a Wavebreaker victory just stolen right there.
I mean, maybe not one team fight, but maybe even 1 kill. If 1 kill went in Wavebreaker's favor, that could have easily went the other way, because Retro Records threw everything they could at the zone at that last second. It was just Retro Records did everything they could, or everything correctly, to respond. And both of these teams, they're really, really even. It's like this game has been very, very back and forth. One team had zone, the other team had zone. Retro Records got a very, very good hold, then they went down. Wavebreaker got a really good hold. So this could actually gone either way.
Yeah, but the beauty of having a 5-game set is this is where teams really get to learn each other and learn the opponent, learn how they play. And not only are the comps pretty similar, but the way they played in terms of their mechanical skill, like you mentioned, the back and forward of how that match turned out was very even as well. So we are going to be in for a truly clashing series for sure, as game number 2 awaits us, Museum de Alfonsino. Any thoughts on this map topic?
The mid, okay, whenever I like this map, whenever I think of this, I usually think of the right side flank, because a lot of short range weapons, melee, rushes, dualies, short range blasters, short range shooters like to go there, because you basically have free access to, not free access, but you have quicker access to the enemy plat. So I think for both teams, making or utilizing the right side flanks are going to be very, very important. But also as well, you got the first checkpoint is a really, really big chokehold, because it's like right on the edge of the enemy plat. So you're going to have to throw damn near all you got at the ramp and the space around the team and get the Rainmaker.
Yeah, 100%. And Keeley, if both these teams bring similar comps, we're gonna see on both sides that Junior Bubble and that Ink Brush. Let's see if that reigns true here as we're moving on to game number 2. Let's see if these teams decide to stick with what they got or switch things up on us here quickly. We do see an E-Leader pick, and actually the brush does go away for Wavebreaker. On the other side, holding steady is Retro Records. A little bit of a change here, but a certain welcome one indeed, as that is a Kraken E-Leader we see.
Yeah, and also for Wavebreaker, they also have a crab now. It's going with a splash, so a bit more of a standard frontliner kind of weapon. Ooh. And nice shot there by Sior on Wavebreaker, and Wavebreaker is looking super strong with a really nice opening. Truce there is able to get, or Truce there able to get a bubble in a really good spot, and unfortunately for Retro Records, that's to be a quick checkpoint going down, and Wavebreaker looking to keep this momentum going.
Yeah, a change of comp, a little bit of a surprise to me, and definitely probably a surprise to Retro Records. It's off to an early start. Wavebreaker showing how they like to play this comp, but that Dynamo is still going to be such a force, especially in mid here for Retro Records. This E-Leader needs to really hone in on that, because that is really the true one-to-one counter, but also having that S-Blaster sure does help. Just stopping that Dynamo and really just preventing the power of it is their key, and they seem to be doing such that as 3 members of Retro Records will fall, so now there will be an opportunity for Wavebreaker to push in, and that is especially needed now, especially since you have Bubble online to do it.
Yeah, they got the bubble, they got the crab clearing out space. It's gonna work. Sior's gonna run it, get it down to 32, but unfortunately Retro Records isn't able to stop them, but they're still looking really strong. Wavebreaker, it's finally going to be at least a couple members to be able to get out of there, and they get a little bit further down to 28 in Retro Records. That's gotta sting a little bit, because now Wavebreaker, they're still on your plat. You're gonna have to clear them out eventually.
Yeah, and although they had a great initial push, I'm sure they're happy with that. I feel like you could have gotten a little bit more of that. I feel like the Rainmaker carry went in a little bit too early, because you did have Booyah Bomb available, so maybe that could have provided at least a little bit more points. But honestly, with having a lead such as 28-0, I mean, you gotta take it, right? But we see here 2 members of Wavebreaker do fall, but the 2 other remaining members still have their specials available to really change the pace of this and turn the tides. But a deadly special duo here. You see the crab, you see the bubble, but now we have a crab v crab fight here. Wavebreaker will come out on top of that, and actually 3 players are down for Retro Records. Is just left to that Dynamo Roller to try to contest, but now Wavebreaker with a quick response and not much scored for Retro Records.
I mean, yeah, all their momentum basically got stopped right there when that crab race happened, and Retro Records just happened to lose it. So now, if you're a Wavebreaker, you still want to be aggressive, but you don't have to put yourself into bad spots. You can play aggressively, but not like overly aggressive, because if you do, you can get super easily punished. Because right now, Retro Records, they're trying everything they can. They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at you to try to break through. And so far, they've only been able to score 13 points in about 3 minutes. So if you're a Wave Breaker, you're feeling comfy right now.
Yeah, the time is dwindling a little bit here, so Retro Records need to change their pace a little bit, especially if they want to stay in this, because Keeley topic, they have not gone past their first checkpoint yet, but this crab could really provide an opportunity for them to do such that, but Porsche does have a crab to respond in kind, being contested here by Slime on that brush, and that brush just shreds crab just very quickly there, and an opportunity will open itself indeed, and Rice will be the one to dunk that Rainmaker through the first checkpoint. Now, trying to get past that is a different task on its own.
Looks like they're gonna do just that. Retro Records gonna go 2 down though, but thankfully they do have a cooler at the race, so their team members can just jump right back. We're under a minute left to go, and there it is. There's the scary E-Leader. There's the laser tag button right there. See, your nice job getting a pick there on the Rainmaker, and now Retro Records is still trying to get a little bit of momentum here, but Wavebreaker, nice staying alive there, but Wavebreaker is just playing some really good defense, not allowing them to get any further past 54.
Yeah, this 1-2 combo of the long range has been really effective at keeping these members of Retro Records in check. Obviously, you have Cats on that S-Blast, but you have obviously the E-Leader as well, I believe, or somebody else, I forgot the name. But anyways, besides that, that range deniability is what really have kept Retro Records' really aggressive playstyle in check here. With 10 seconds left, Retro Records only have one more opportunity, but remember, Wavebreaker have 2 weapons that can really end things with a one shot. Just one shot. Completely shut them down.
I mean, that's what's looking right. Seor jumping in the spot. There it is. If you're Retro Records, you have to be really worried. You know what? You don't have to be worried, because Seor said, you know what? This ends right now. E-Leader is a good weapon.
Seor and Cats, the long-range duo we saw, really shut down how Retro Records like to play, and really fitting to see Seor end that one right there, because the Rainmaker just a little too close for comfort, and with one shot, that's all it took for Wavebreaker to get back into things, even things up 1-1. And we saw a different game being played there, Topic. Initially, we saw how Retro Record were able to dominate a little bit on zones, but now we saw a completely different story here, as Wavebreaker with a very strong defense following that very good initial push.
I think what really helped them was, ironically, the E-Leader, because it kept Retro Records in check. Because if they pushed out a bit too far, if they got a bit too cocky, they tried to do a bit too much, the E-Leader, Seor, just kind of shut them down. So that kind of hindered what Retro Records wanted to do, because in order to get any momentum or get any pushes, you had to make sure you dealt with the E-Leader, you dealt with the long range, and unfortunately, during that last push, they really couldn't, because Seor was in a good spot and kind of untouchable.
Yeah, we've seen 2 different types of comps now run by Retro Records. Will the pattern continue in game number 3? Inkblot, Art Academy, Clam Blitz here. We have seen Retro Records stick with the same comp through 2 games here. Will they stick with it through this 3rd game? That is going to be very interesting, but I honestly think they should, especially with a mode such as Clam Blitz. You have that bubble for really being able to create so much space in and near the goal. But on the other side of Retro Records, or not Retro Records, Wavebreaker, what comp would you think would work best for them, Topic?
That's hard to say. Well, I like Crab here personally. I think Crab is really good. He can stand on the stack. He can stand on the bat. He can basically defend or push anywhere on plat. Now, E-Leader is interesting. I do think E-Leader can work on this, but this map is a little bit tighter together, so you are going to be a bit more exposed. You are going to be a bit more vulnerable. So I could realistically see either. Well, okay. I think they're going to stick with the comp they had in game number 2, because that just works 100 times better than game number 1, basically.
Sticking with the hot hand, I like that idea. Let's see if they
Oh.
do it. It doesn't seem like they will. They're just gonna change it up yet again here, but still, on the other side, Retro Records still standing firm with what they have, but let's take a look at what Wavebreaker is running here. Pretty similar to what they were running in game number 1, but the key difference, obviously, is having that Octobrush, which is running, interestingly enough, Rain, which you don't see often at all, Topic.
Well, I think it's more so for the beacons, because beacons, nice bump there. The beacons are like super good, since you can put them in a good spot and then get your team in. But so far, Wavebreaker doesn't look like they need the help because they're just winning fights. Unfortunately, Cats is gonna go down there, but you see the crab, and also I think that's why, as you see right there, Rain just kind of clears out Plat. It forces movement, so I think that's also a reason why they went with the Rain one.
Yeah, and we see a variation of, I guess, a combination of how Wavebreaker likes to play matches, but already we're seeing Retro Records trying to take the offense to Wavebreaker. The clam advantage is in the favor of Wavebreaker, however. Seor will get one, but 3 members are down for Retro Records. It's just left the Dynamo, who will find Seor getting a little too aggressive, but just like that, it will be a slightly delayed wipe as Gats will manage to find the goal, but not much follow-up will be had there. Maybe a little bit of a very too aggressive push there.
Yeah, maybe a bit too preemptive, because right now, Retro Records, they have 11 clams, not including the Pity Clam, and Wavebreaker only scored the 1 power. So I think if you are Retro Records, you need to take advantage of this. And so far, it looks like you're going to try to do that, though. Unfortunately, both teams are going to go 1 down, though. Cats, the last one remaining, Slime gets behind them. That's going to be it. And with the bubble in the right by the basket, looks like they are going to get the power in and a couple more clams before the lead. Maybe. Hold on. Yep. Okay. Never mind. I was right.
Yeah, that's where that initial push could come back to bite you, as that ball was used because of the goal scored by Wavebreaker, and now the lead is in Retro Records' hands, but a quick response from Wavebreaker to keep that lead still in a manageable spot, as it is not under the 60 threshold at all. This could still have an opportunity for Wavebreaker to punch back into things. 2 specials, now 3 specials are active. The Rain went out, the Booyah Bomb going out, and Keely the Crab is out, but Retro Records still holding firm. Wavebreaker do have 2 balls available for them. One of them will decide to jump out, and they will try to reset and save those balls for an opening that may open up if they can get their specials together. But they are falling like flies in the background, Topic, as now Retro Records have an opportunity to get back in.
I mean, yeah, they're going to do that. Scripps is going to score. Seor in the back's not going to get it. They're going to go down. Ren here with a couple more clams. They're going to score down to 58. They have more on the way, but Slime getting down to 43. And that's going to be a really good follow-up. And for Wavebreaker, I think they tried to push a little... They waited a bit too long on their push. They used the specials, but didn't really capitalize on that. So that allowed Retro Records to really... counteract super quickly, because they painted up all their Plat and they just went forward and it worked out. But now Retro Records, they have to be very careful, because same situation like a minute ago. Wavebreaker has 3 specials in. Treese here with the bubble is gonna get at least 1 power win. The ones are gonna go down. They get the other power win. Seor is gonna score a couple of little clams, but everyone's gonna go down, unfortunately. So everyone's down, so no one gets the advantage.
What an ink bath there, everyone falling, but obviously Wavebreaker will have the advantage with the lead. They have the potential to even get 3 balls in there, but just not able to keep the push going, but I'm sure they're still happy about with the lead, but it is a slim one indeed, as a minute is left on the clock here. Crab is available for Wavebreaker to try to hold his defense, and it is a key one for sure. Horsch will pick up the ball. I'm not sure if that was a purposeful pick, but they will have the ball in their possession, but Retro Records have a bubble to really try to get a push going, and a push is what they desperately need, and the bubble will go out actually just to try to contest mid and to really test out Wavebreaker's defense.
I mean, so far they're standing firm as Trees is forced to back away. The rain from Sior trying to clear out some space. One's gonna go down for Retro Records, though. That's a good trade on both sides. However, with 25 seconds left, Sior is gonna get another one right on the wall. He's gonna get trapped in the corner, forced to back away. Another one's gonna go down for Retro Records, and Wavebreaker has responded really well in kind. So with 13 seconds left, Retro Records, they don't have a power. They need to build a power and go as quick as possible, though. With no clams in sight, as time's gonna tick down, that might be it. Oh, never mind, they got a clam. Very lucky for them. But now they have less than a minute to get to the other side, and Wavebreaker not looking to let that go.
I mean, all they need is the ball to go in and maybe 1 or 2 clams to end things, but it will not look to be the case as this shot is just holding firm, and just like that, Wavebreaker will deny any potential overtime hit there, just like that. Now, we're looking at a 2-1 series, and potentially looking for the 3-1.
I mean, what can I say? That was a good game. It was just some really good defense from Wavebreakers at the very end. They got some good pushes, even though, yes, there were a couple of mistakes there, like them not pushing quick enough, them pushing too quick or not quick enough. It was just at the very end, they managed to hunker down and not let Retro Records do whatever they wanted. So, it's just been close games. I like that.
Yeah, for sure, and that will continue on Splat Zone's Hagglefish Market, which could be our potential last map if you're a fan of Retro Records. Hopefully not, but the quintessential competitive map, I like to say, Splat Zone's Hagglefish Market. This is what truly tests these comps, and so far, Wavebreaker have been bringing a new element no matter what map we've seen them on, and for Retro Records, the complete opposite, sticking with what they got, sticking with their guns, but it hasn't worked in the previous 2 games. I wonder if now would creep up an opportunity to switch things up topic.
Well, I could see that, but, you know, I just want to say Hagglefish Zones. I see this, whenever I see this map, I see vanilla ice cream, I see salt and pepper, I see Marvel movies, you know, just your very basic, very, like, surface level, very, non-offensive map mode, because it's just like, it's everywhere, everyone knows what it is. Personally, I think it's just bland, but there might be a change from Retro Records to what, I don't know, but this is where desperate times call for desperate measures, because this could be your tourney run. For the side of Wavebreaker, the pencil's going to be brought back, and no changes for Retro Records. They are comfortable with what they got, so they're going to stick with it to the very end.
Yeah, Wavebreaker sticking with their quintessential quintessential Splat Zones comp, and on the other side, Retro Records sticking with what they've run this entire set so far, and I like that double whammy from Wavebreaker, having that pencil poking long range and also having that S-Blast poking, and we're seeing the value of it here. This pencil Sior has been so valuable in the different weapons they play, but already Retro Records will lose 3 members. It is just left to the Dynamo, and I feel like I've said that exact sentence so many times because Wavebreaker have been able to just demolish the supporting cast of Retro Records so effectively in the opening minutes of things, and really it is just left to the Dynamo to really reset and try again to paint in for their team.
I mean, this is very dangerous for Retro Records. We talked about it a couple of times. The backlines for both teams are super, super important. On this map specifically, if you're Retro Records, Sior on the pencil is what you really want to focus on, because if you don't move the pencil, you just can't get in. And so far, it's exactly what's going on, as Retro Records are going to go another 2 down. The pencil and Trees just sitting casually in zone, not really having to worry about much as a flank, though. On the side of Retro Records with the crab, one's gonna go down into zone, and this might be the opportunity they're looking for. Ooh. 2 down with the bombs, and Retro Records coming back with everything they got to take the zone and give Wavebreakers a huge penalty.
That looks like it could have been a Wavebreaker 100-0 in the blink of an eye, but 2 well-placed bombs for Retro Records keep them alive and keep them rolling. Cats will find Slime on that pick here, and Retro Records are nearing the 50-point mark, trying to see if they can pull a miracle of their own back here, but they do go but they do go the Dynamo down, but Wavebreaker do go 2 players down themselves, so Keeley, their backlines are out of things, and a Crab will make the situation worse for Wavebreaker, as now this could look like another 100-0, but in the other direction.
I mean, that's what's looking like right now. Wavebreaker are having a really tough time getting in. There's the Cooler coming out to try to force a fight. Though the Junior is going to go down for Wavebreaker. The Crab's going to come out. The lead's going to be changed. Here we go. Wavebreakers forcing their way in. It's going to work. They get the Dynamo down. The Bomb's going to take control of zone, and Wavebreaker has responded super quickly, but with Retro Records now looking to go out without a fight.
That is very interesting how this game has turned out so far. Both teams, their initial push have gone super well, and they've been able to really play keep out, but obviously this game is going to be determined who can play it better, as Retro Records, just like that, have actually been able to take back the zone in quick time. Yor will pop the Cooler for the members of Wavebreaker who are jumping in to try to contest this. 2 minutes left, so a little under half the match left to be played. Dualies will go down for Retro Records, could open up a numbers opportunity, and it will open up an opportunity as such as the bubble is popped. All 4 members of Wavebreakers will rush in to try to take the zone. They will take it at least temporarily, but Retro Records still in it, obviously, with their own bubbler and that powerful Dynamo.
Yeah, and I think what's the real problem for both of these teams is they're not able to take the area around the zone. Like we've seen, Ren for Retro Records, unfortunate timing, has been able to go get these flanks off with Crabs to kind of get their way in. And on the side of Wavebreaker, it's been the splash and the S-Blast being able to get around. So both these teams have really struggled to take the area around the zone, though Wavebreaker looking to break that. However, it's just gonna keep going. We're under about a minute left to go. Retro Records, they need to take control of the zone here if they want to keep the lead. The Wavebreaker holding on for dear life. This is coming down to the wire.
Yeah, and Keeley, they're almost out of their penalty. The Brush will get a 2-for-1 trade, which will swing things in favor of Retro Records. That was huge right there. Although they will lose their life, they Keeley take down 2 members of Wavebreaker, which now opens the opportunity for the rest of Retro Records to get in. But the zone is just being flipped left, right, and center here. Neither team really having a strong hold on to it, but Wavebreaker seemingly will pop the bubbler and will try to be the one to hold on to this hill last, as it is just a ink bath in mid there as Retro Records pop a bubble of their own, and just like that, 3 members of Wavebreaker fall. 20 seconds left. What can you do here if you are Wavebreaker to try to stay in this?
Don't die, build specials. I know that's really bad timing with the Junior going down, but you cannot go down. If you go down, that's exactly what it will cost you the game. 4 seconds remaining. Retro Records is gonna hold on for dear life. Shots going left and right in Retro Records, by the skin of their teeth, will win the game and force a game number 5.
With how these teams have been so back and forth topic, it was kind of expected to be here, but I did not expect it to be in such a heart-racing way there, as the comp that Retro Records has run pays off in zones as it did in game number 1, and that seems to be the mode that Retro Record really has Wavebreaker's number on, but now a mode that we haven't seen yet in this series. Game number 5 will be Ship-Shape Cargo Tower Control.
Okay, now I like Ship-Shape Tower personally, because I think one of the great features about this map is that it does use the entirety of the map. As we're going to quickly on the replays, we're going to see just an absolute bloodbath, like just people jumping in left, right, and center trying to get these picks, and unfortunately for Wavebreaker, Retro Records held on to it last. But going to game number 5, I think the first checkpoint, yeah, I wouldn't say that's really the chokehold of this map. It is relatively easy. It's not easy to get. It's a lot easier than the second one, because the second one, you're at a really bad height disadvantage. With the first one, you really have to worry about right in front of you and the pit underneath. So I think, honestly, both bubbles can't stay. I think Dynamo in general, because this map is a lot wider than most, would be very, very strong. I could see them keeping that. I could see like not a lot of changes from either team. You know what I mean?
Bubble should stay, the crab should stay. We might see a change to a weapon with tri-strikes because we've known how well those GG strikes can go. We may even see the switch back to the E-leader with that Kraken to just end things straight out, but not only is the second checkpoint notoriously hard to take when you're there, but getting there is hard enough because it is such a long distance to get there, Topic, but with how we've seen both these teams use their specials, I'm sure they'll find their own ways, and aforementioned Bubble, we'll most likely see it here, and will most likely be the key to that.
Well, enough speculation here. We go game 5. Both teams looking to punch
E-leader.
their ticket into finals. There's an E-leader. No changes from Retro Records. So, like we talked about in game number 3, I believe, which was Rainmaker, the E-leader is going to be very, very important. The backline brawl between the leader and Dynamo will kind of determine the flow of how this game goes.
Sior has been such a sharpshooter on that, ending game 3 with one shot. Let's see if they can continue this, as actually Retro Records will be the first ones to take control of that, obviously the bubble being popped there, and they are chugging straight along for that first checkpoint, as the first checkpoint on this map is usually a given and usually kind of a really easy spot to get, especially if you win one team fight, but actually Retro Records won't be able to take it, as it is a fierce battle in mid here. Specials are coming out left, right, and center.
Yeah, because like you said, the first checkpoint usually is really easy, but if both of these teams are defending it like they are right now, it could be a real struggle, as Retro Records can get on tower again with the space to work with. Scribby is on tower, is going to get all the way to the first checkpoint, though a flank from Retro Records and get shut down, however, so this might be a free first checkpoint for Retro Records as they start to eat away at this distance between the first and second.
This is the no man's zone. This is the hard part, but 2 players are down for Wavebreaker, so actually getting past that hard part. Now with a wipeout, Retro Records have the potential to go all the way now, getting past the second checkpoint, and they are continuing to just go straight for the knockout here. The brush will go down, 8 seconds left. The Dynamo and the Bubble still up. Dynamo, last player standing, will get taken out, and it will be a wipeout in favor for Wavebreaker, but they have already shown a strong push that Wavebreaker will find very hard to come back from.
I mean, that push is basically game winning. You got to 5, you broke through both checkpoints. So now, if you're Retro Records, you want to make sure that Wavebreaker cannot even has the possibility of getting that close by, while guarding the first checkpoint, fiercely guarding the second checkpoint, because if they do that, it'd be very hard to do anything. And so far, Retro Records are looking to just end the game outright. See, you're popping the Kraken, able to get one, forcing the other 2 to back away. So Wavebreaker, we're halfway through the game. They have yet to score a point.
Yeah, a little under half the match played. A tough hill to climb, but you need to start taking small steps if you're Wavebreaker. You need to get that first checkpoint. The bubble being popped for Wavebreaker to try to get that, but Crab is popped on the other side to try to contest it a little bit, but 3 players are down for Wavebreaker by a wonderful just 1-2 punch from Rice on that Junior plus Scribs on that Dynamo will shut down that push for Wavebreaker, and now Retro Records are just going straight for the knockout here. They are not stopping. They are keeping all the pressure on Wavebreaker.
I mean, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to show dominance. You want to show why you deserve to make it to finals, and they're doing exactly that, as Wavebreaker has just barely been able to stop them getting to the goal the first time, and they're gonna just keep on going. Cats are gonna go down after getting a trade there. See, you're barely not able to get the pick on the Crab itself, and so far, with about 90 seconds left to go, Wavebreaker, they've been looking desperate to get in.
Yeah, and they haven't gotten past that first checkpoint yet again. The bubble being placed, but quick kill onto that Junior will get traded out as well. Sior will get a pick there as well, just continuing to show that presence the E-leader has, but a little bit more has to be done, as the first checkpoint will eventually go down in favor of Wavebreaker, but this distance from the first to the second checkpoint can be killer if Wavebreaker can't shut down the members of Retro Records, kind of like how they were shut down. But Booyah Bomb will be placed to try to stall that a little bit. The Dynamo will actually Keely go down, and actually they're trying really desperately to get past the second checkpoint. They will almost get it, but quickly shut down by the horde that is Retro Records, and they are taking no survivors.
I mean, yeah, the beauty of the GG Whales just kind of forcing Wavebreaker off of tower, and now you have 30 seconds left. Retro Records, you cannot, okay, bad timing, you cannot go down, because if you do, your resources for getting for stopping pushes is going to decrease significantly. Run there on the left hand side is going to go down, unfortunately, and now Wavebreaker, they're on tower. This is their last opportunity to get this game. They're gonna go to down the bubble on tower. It's only one left, and Retro Records will get to the final one off of tower, and with that, Retro Records will win the set and will move on to our finals.
That was a comeback if you look at how the set turned out. Retro Records initially took first blood on that first map, but very quickly Wavebreakers changing up their comp a lot and really throwing some new pieces at Retro Record, won the next two, but eventually Retro Records, this is the beauty of 5-game sets. Retro Records really got to learn what Wavebreaker likes to bring, and on that game 5, Wavebreaker brought what they brought on that Rainmaker, and with some adjustments of how Retro Record played, they were able to use that new information to its fullest, and now punching their ticket into the finals, and they meet a familiar opponent to the stream. They will face off against number 2 seeded Ink Bashers, who took down our number 1 seed Kiki Cow equals Burgers, a really funny name there, but quite a surprising set there, winning 3-0, a lot less competitive than the match we just saw, Topic.
I mean, what can I say? Ink Bashers, they wanted it, they went out, they proved it, so now we're going to finals. I expect a very entertaining set.
Yeah, for sure, and what a set to await us. But before we get to that, we will take a very, very short break before that, but don't go anywhere. Your Prism Break number 10 champions will be determined in just one moment.
Well, here we are. Welcome back to Prism Break. We have our finals in a rematch of an earlier bracket, I believe. We have Ink Bashers versus Retro Records. This is our number 2 seed versus our number 8 seed. So not quite the 1-2 everyone expected, but still we expect some very, very good matches. I am Topic, of course, joined by Rocket. And Rocket, are you excited for this?
I am pumped, and you mentioned earlier, these two teams faced off initially in Swiss. If you take a look at how that match turned out, Retro Records getting the better of Ink Bashers 2-1, but we saw different semifinals matchups between different opponents. We saw Ink Bashers basically just run over our #1 seed and force them to go into their third place matchup, and we just saw Retro Records pulling off a really good comeback against the Rising team in Wavebreaker, and now what awaits us might be revenge for Ink Bashers here. They have the hot hand. They've been on a roll so far through this bracket, but we just gotta wait and see as we look at our first game, which will be Splat Zones on Robo Ramen.
Now, I like this map because it kind of reminds me of a ramen bowl, right? Like the name implies. You know, you got everything in the middle. You got your noodles, you got your broth, you got your veggies, you got your egg, and then you have that outer ring that kind of contains it all. But on this map specifically, you still have to watch out for that outer ring because this map is, if you can't believe it, one of the maps that actually have flanks on it. So you gotta make sure you keep those walls painted, you keep eyes on it. But here we go, game number 1 of finals. Woomy with the wiper on the side of Ink Bashers, and the same comp we've been seeing from Retro Records, so I doubt they're gonna change anything there.
You talk about flank routes, Slime on that brush, maybe Woomy on that wiper could provide for a battle. We actually see a little bit of it, Woomy trying to get on that left flank there, but Ink Bashers off to a hot start. We'll find 2 members of Retro Records in that, and Taro is just on a roll, but they will lose 2 members of their own there, which will stall out the momentum a little bit, but Ink Bashers continuing to try to keep that out, but the bombs are just coming in. We'll find a 2-piece right there, and the bombs have just been on points for Retro Records early, as so far they have each found 2 victims.
Yeah, the bombs have been working, but so far in these team fights, it's been all Ink Bashers. Unfortunate. Nice use of the wall there by Rice, but for the most part, this whole all the team fights have been in favor of Ink Bashers, and I think one thing we both forgot to mention is that Ink Bashers, they have 2 walls, so they have a lot of defensive capabilities. They don't really have the at least specials to push out, but if they can lock you out, they're going to do that relatively, or really easily, in fact.
Retro Records were able to force the penalty onto Ink Bashers, but they are quickly tearing through that, but Retro Records are trying to make sure that won't happen, but a beautiful Zuka shot will shut that down. That bubble will not do too much, as now Ink Bashers just 5 ticks away from getting out of their penalty, but they are continuing to put the pressure on Retro Records. The cooler will go out for Retro Records to try to save this a little bit. Crab is available, but so is the stamp from Woomy. This could be dangerous here if Retro Records aren't cautious about it and knowing of it. And there it goes. It will find one, that Dynamo, and will shut down the Crab in the process. 15 ticks left. Retro Records really need to find an opening onto this as they continue to go into single digits here, but eventually they will force the penalty points, and now they will try to work on that lead of their own.
Yeah, but every time they've tried to push forward, Ink Bashers has been there, and that's going to be a very, very quick retake for Ink Bashers, preventing Retro Records from eating through their penalty. But every time Retro Records has tried to push out or push beyond the ramp, Ink Bashers does a really, really good job of stopping that, as Woomy's going to get another pick on the Dynamo, trying to keep that cooler offline for Retro Records. And so far, Ink Bashers not looking to let go. The Crab's going to come out, but it's a bit too far to really let their teammates in. Rice is going to pop a bubble, try to force their way in. It's going to be somewhat effective, though. Not enough Slime's going to go down, and all this fighting is going in favor of Ink Bashers. They eat through their penalty down to 5, 4, 3, 2 members left. Ren trying to paint up, it's not gonna work, and Ink Bashers will take a really good, really dominant game number 1.
They've had the hot hand. They've won their previous 3 against what was our #1 seed, and that streak continues now to 4 straight games won, and they looked really dominant there, and they really were able to shut down the heart and soul of what Retro Records does, which is obviously that Dynamo roller. That's what led to Wavebreaker taking those 2 games we saw in the earlier set. And Keeley, Dynamo is a different weapon when you run cooler on it, and doesn't have that such fast fire rate that maybe an NZAP would, which is what Ink Bashers is running. It doesn't provide that quick inking and long range ability at the same time as a pencil would. It is that quick burst of ink that just flies right at you, and it is something that Ink Bashers were able to shut down really well. And once you shut down the cooler and the heart and soul of the team, the rest kind of struggles to keep up.
Yeah, and I just want to add that in fact Ink Bashers did win their first round of the bracket 2-0, so technically they're on a 6-game win streak. But let's see if they can keep that going as we go to game number 2, Manta Maria Rainmaker.
I have not seen this map mode in a long time, but I love this map mode specifically. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I think it could lean a little bit into Retro Records' favor here with such a narrow passageway. It could provide a lot of opportunities for that Dynamo Roller to really work, as both these teams don't typically change what they've run. Maybe a slight a slight change with alteration, thank you, that's the word, that Ink Bashers might want to run with Woomy, but Retro Records have stood firm through that entire previous set, and I wouldn't imagine they change things up at all.
I mean, for Retro Records, I don't think they really have the prerogative to, because Dynamo is actually it's pretty good on bunker here. You kind of just cover a lot of street. You can protect yourself relatively well as long as you have at least one person keeping an eye on the wall. So I don't really see a need for them to change up dramatically what they're doing. No changes, however, from the side of Ink Bashers. Again, no changes for Retro Records. So, you know what? We're sticking with what works, and it works.
Yeah, and they are all sticking with the same comp here. We are just seeing a different mode that is going to be played. So it's going to be really interesting to see this dynamic between the two wall lineup of Ink Bashers versus this Dynamo. Let's see if those walls can provide enough protection for members of Ink Bashers, as we see them already take the Rainmaker and trying to take the fight to Retro Records, who have that bubble to really allow that Dynamo to have some space and allow the rest of their team to have space. And we're seeing it already here, the Dynamo propped up at the top of your screen, but 2 members are down for Retro Records there as Ink Bashers continue to move forward, but quickly met by a stone wall that is the Dynamo Roller, shutting down that push pretty much single-handedly. Scribs with that, and off of that will manage to pop cooler as well. So now a counterattack opportunity will be had by Retro Records.
And that's why we gotta take bunker if you're pushing, because if you don't, any member of the opposing team can easily shut you down, as Retro Records is just there, but pulling a Rainmaker classic, just running right behind them and getting the checkpoint, which is a huge win for Ink Bashers, meaning now their pushes are going to be a whole lot easier for them to go through. And now Retro Records has an opportunity here to at least get some points on the board. But if you see there at the top of your screen, Woomy on another flank, the hammer is going to get popped, trying to chase one down. It's going to get shut down, unfortunately. So now Retro Records, with the man advantage, has the opportunity here to possibly get some points on the board.
Yeah, being able to divert heads on that flank, a beautiful shot there by Akabi to get that pick with the Zuka, but a Crab and Cooler popped for Retro Records to try to get into Ink Basher's side, but so far they have made minimal progress as the Rainmaker timer is nearing the explosion mark. 10 ticks left on it. Retro Records need to move forward on it, or the Rainmaker will explode here. Now a desperate push towards it. Rice will go down, and now the Rainmaker is up for grabs here, as Ink Bashers now are working with a one-man advantage.
I mean, yeah, that's what happens if you don't push quick enough with the Rainmaker. That could just lead to a bunch of paint going in the enemy's favor. Woomy with 1, 2 are gonna go down. The jump just barely surviving, but gonna go down eventually. And now Beastie here is deciding to go on that left side. They make the jump down to 15 in the court of Retro Records. That's a great job. Kabi there getting a nice pick on Scribbies with the Dynamo. Woomy doing the exact same thing, gonna get 1 more point and keep Retro Records on their toes, and that will be the end of the push. And with how far they've gotten, with how good they've looked, that could be a game-winning push for Ink Bashers.
I love just seeing Woomy constantly throwing themselves at the Rainmaker. That is the true heart of somebody who wants to compete. But we see here Retro Records trying to get a sneaky checkpoint cap of their own. Will get taken out. Woomy again with the stamp, but actually it's the other members of Ink Bashers that will quickly force the wipeout, and now a very, very, very open lane opens itself for Ink Bashers there. And as the Rainmaker tries to move forward, Beastie is just trying to move in. We'll find Rice off of that pick, and they just need to move forward. There will be an opening, but quickly shut down Keeley by those dualies and that Gal, but Crab here popped in just in desperation to try to keep this Rainmaker out of the goal.
Yeah, they are able to do it, and thankfully for Retro Records, they didn't score any more points. So you can hang your hat on that, but now you have about 70 seconds left to get not only the checkpoint, but all the way into the enemy court and basically touching the pedestal. That's a long way to trek, and Ink Bashers has not been looking back. They've been holding on, or not really holding on. They've just been having a pretty dominant game. Nice kill there by Slime on copy, but they've just been looking really, really dominant this entire game, not allowing Retro Records to basically touch their side of the map.
Yeah, the Rainmaker has not really moved at all onto the side. Actually, right now, the Rainmaker is probably moved up a lot further than we've seen this entire match, but that timer is ticking down. 15 seconds left, and there is Woomy yet again with a well-timed stamp. Will find two, and that almost finds the Crab as well. It always seems like when a push is slightly building momentum for Retro Records, Woomy is there to immediately stamp it down. 15 seconds left. The Rainmaker is actually quickly taken out by the brush of Retro Records, but with 10 seconds left, this Rainmaker needs to be picked up fast.
Yup, there it is. They're gonna pick it up. Rice gonna pick it up, but go down almost immediately. The bubble is not gonna save them. Slime gonna jump in, and Ink Bashers. Very, very good game one. Even better game two. They're looking to end this now and end their bracket run at least undefeated.
A hot hand is such an understatement to what Ink Bashers is right now. They are all on fire during this entire bracket, and they are potentially looking for their second straight sweep. Remember, they did sweep in their previous semifinals, and they're continuing to show us why they swept our #1 seed. Just the constant pressure they had. They didn't have to do much defending at all, Topic. I barely saw them have to really be put on their back foot as they just continued to mount the pressure. They continue to mount the pushes. We see the individual plays, Keeley Woomy being able to pop that checkpoint and being able to open things up for Ink Bashers time and time again.
I mean, yeah, it's just there's Woomy just going in. It was just Ink Bashers kept throwing themselves at the Rainmaker, and Retro Records really couldn't handle it very well. It showed that they were a little disorganized with every time Ink Bashers tried, but they're gonna have to try to collect themselves because they did it before. Can they do it again? Can they stop Ink Bashers as we go to game number 3, our potential final game of the tournament? One of my favorite map modes in the game, Barnacling Dime Clam Blitz.
I feel like it's either this or Hagglefish Market as the classic, but Keeley, it isn't zones, it is Clam Blitz, so it's going to be very interesting to see the bubble usage. It's going to be interesting to see the Dynamo. Not a lot of different playstyles, I would imagine, for Clam Blitz. Obviously a lot more fighty compared to Rainmaker, but it is still the same, really just fighting for a certain area. In this case, it is the goal. No changes for Ink Bashers, of course, and on the other side, still no changes from Retro Records, still holding firm with that comp. Why waver? But they must be shaking a little bit now, as their tournament could end in this game if they make a mistake.
I mean, yeah, and so far they're being a little bit more passive than we've seen in these previous games. Slime, though, gonna go in and get a nice trade there. Ink Bashers does have Cooler at their race so they can force fights. That's gonna be 2 down for Retro Records. Hold on, Beastie there, sneaking in, getting the first score of, it wasn't Beastie, I'm sorry, it was Haro, I believe, on the side of Ink Bashers, but still getting the first score of the game, though no follow-up for that. So the question becomes, was that really worth it? Because now you gave Retro Records a free 20 points to work with, and they've been so far trying to use that to their advantage.
hurting yourself at the Rainmaker may work, but the difference in Clam Blitz is you give them the ability to counter push so well, and just like that, the lead is taken by Retro Records. Not only do you give them the man advantage, but you also give them the map advantage, those clams, and the ball as well. And Retro Records being able to knock it down to 62, still a good and decent lead, but still being easy to flip as well if Ink Bashers play to how they have. But we are seeing a completely different game here from Retro Records. They are fighting with their lives on the line and their tournament lives on the line, which it really depends on it, because the crab could potentially come out now for Retro Records to continue this scoring streak, as that's what they need to stay in this.
Yeah, but looks like that's not going to come out. Ren instead deciding to back away, which is really the good decision here, because they're being pushed relentlessly. Ren finally pops at Woomy in the core, is going to get cornered by Rice, going to go down, though no one else from English is going to be anywhere close. And so far, it's been a very neutral game for both sides. Other than those first couple of scores, both teams have been basically trading mid. Neither team has been able to really get the opening they needed, but Ink Bashers just got it.
Yeah, and a stamp is available for Woomy here to really cause some havoc here. There is an opening for it, but it will get shut down here. Taro on the gal, and another ball being held by the squeezer for Ink Bashers. The push will go no further, as with that quick defense from Retro Records, it will at least provide them some time to regroup here and fight for mid control. Neither team really taking any casualties, but actually, as I say that, Retro Records will take their first casualty. Keely that rush, and could open up an opportunity for the floodgates to open, because with the amount of balls and clams and cooler and specials they have, this could change the lead in a quick amount of time.
I mean, that's what they're trying to do right here. Scribby's gonna go down. Rice forced to back away. Beastie scores another power clam with a couple more clams to follow up, and Ink Bashers will take the lead and keep themselves in. Taro winning that 2v or winning that and turning that into a 2v1. Woomy with a couple more clams to follow up with, getting it down to 23. Taro getting more clams. Beastie with the clams that just spawned are gonna keep going, and more clams that just spawned. Beastie just ends the game off of that one push, going from 80 to 0, and Retro Records couldn't really had a chance to respond. And with that will be game. That will be the set, and that will be the tournament for Ink Bashers, who, after looking back at their Swiss records, they ended their tourney run going 18-2.
Healy, though, topic. They went undefeated in Diamond Bracket. They did not lose a single match or round. They did not lose a single match against Puma Hogs, winning 2-0. They did not lose a single match against Kiwi, winning 3-0, and just you saw right there, completing the sweep right there. A complete sweep of the bracket. Really impressive by Ink Bashers, and really show the dominant force that they were. GG's to Ink Bashers, GG's to Retro Records, but Ink Bashers will be your Prism Break number 10 champions. Congratulations to Nilla, Woomy, Cabby, and Tara.
I mean, they deserved it. Dominant tourney run ends with a dominant victory. That last game, for the most part, remained really, really neutral. But then, once they scored that second time, the dam just burst, and the scoring continued. Retro Records tried to repair a couple of bricks here and there, but they just couldn't stop it in time. And by the time they had an opportunity to... Oh no, they didn't have an opportunity, because the clams just spawned at the right times for Ink Bashers, and they took full advantage of it.
Yeah, GG's to both teams involved, and thank you all for watching, but obviously we have some housekeeping to do, so Topic, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me over on Twitter and Blue Sky, Topical2, same thing for both. You can find me over on Discord, Topic2. I just like talking about Splatoon and other things in general. And yeah, Rocket, what about you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at rocket_splat. You will find where I'm commentating next, where I'm yapping next, pretty much. But besides that, thank you all for watching. Voting is out for the next Prism Break, I believe, so be sure to go check that out if you want to see a variation of the maps we saw earlier. Manta Maria Rainmaker is not something we typically see, but we listen to you, the community, the people watching, the people playing, for feedback on how we should, or the map list of what we should play, what we should see, and really opens up and allows us to really bring entertainment to you.
Yes. So you heard the man. Vote in for Tower Mincemeat. No, I expect nothing less.
Oh, that will be a treat to watch. Treats, torture, I don't know. Depends on who you ask. But anyways, that's enough from us. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Yes, and as always, never stop disturbing the peace.